And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chicago Brewed Sports. First ever podcast. Pretty excited about that. My name is Andrew. This is Joe. And this is Brandon. We'll be your host.
I'm excited, boys, for this. You know, it's a new journey together.
We got a lot to go over.
We have a lot to go. I mean, there's never a delay in stuff to talk about with Chicago sports. You know, you got the highs, the lows.
Yeah, so sit back, relax, and enjoy a beer with us while we discuss Chicago sports.
Absolutely.
All right. Andrew, so go ahead. Come on. Introduce yourself a little bit more to our audience.
So my name is Andrew. Of course, you guys just met me. I'm a United States Marine. Well, I was active from 2018 to 2022. Got out. I'm 26. I've been a lifelong Chicago sports fan. I grew up in Chicago, my entire life. So pretty excited to be doing this with two of my very close partners.
Absolutely. I'll introduce myself after, if you want to start with the Cubs, and I'll start with the Bear, or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Should we introduce?
I'm gonna go. Let's introduce ourselves now, Joe. Joe, you go, Joe. I'll go back.
Joe Klatt. I have lived in Illinois now for 20 years, about. I grew up in Wisconsin, though. Went to high school there. So I was a Bears fan I was born in Illinois, so moved to Wisconsin when I was 5 years old. And growing up in Wisconsin as a Bears fan, I think makes my hatred towards the Packers even more than any Chicago fan, probably.
So, Joe, sorry to interrupt
right.
you, but tell us how you grew up in Wisconsin, moved to Chicago. Why did you become a Bears fan and not adopt the Green Bay Packers?
Hey, man, that's a great question. Yeah. I get that question all the time. So I have to give that credit to, unfortunately, my parents. My parents
okay.
are diehard Bears fans growing up as a kid, hearing them talk about the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
Like Marty McFly, can't get back to 85.
Joe, you had one chance to get out of being a Chicago sports fan, and you blew it.
Unfortunately for my parents.
No, I'm just joking. We're all big Chicago sports fans here. We can laugh about what's been going on in this city. But yeah, so my name is Brandon. If you want, you can call me Bob on this show. Big opinion Brandon. So Bobby, Brandon, whatever works. I don't know if that's going to stick, but we'll see.
I'm going to know, Bob.
Hey, thank you. I don't think you said it, but Joe's a really good friend of ours. Andrew's actually my brother. Might be able to tell by the big ass noses, so. But no, I'm actually a White Sox fan. I'm repping the team today. Been for a while. I work for Wintrust Bank, so I think it's cool, right? I don't know if Joe touched on it. He's a Chicago firefighter, so he's got ties in this city.
You stole my thunder from me.
Absolutely, baby. Absolutely. I work for Wintrust. We sponsor the White Sox, the Cubs, so I have ties in this city too. And then we have this fucking Giga Chad Marine here, so we're cooking today. So real quick, and we'll get into it.
Just,
yeah.
Excuse me, sorry. Just a side note. I don't know if YouTube allows swearing. Do they?
Yeah, they do. They do.
They
could monetize, but
they
I guess
swear
you
often,
could, but don't abuse it.
Yeah.
Am I abusing it?
No. I'm
they
just
don't
saying.
like,
I wasn't sure.
saying the R word or any of that. What I mean?
Yeah.
You can't say racist stuff, talking sexual things, towards people, stuff like that.
Okay.
But, swearing is usually okay.
All right.
Was that all live? Or?
We're not live. We're just recording.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing. Yeah, only White Sox fan in the entire family. My mom comes from a family of 5. All my uncles, my dad, all Cubs fans. My grandmother, my grandparents, all Cubs fans. I have one uncle who's a White Sox fan. He sucked me in at a young age. 05 happened. I became a big Sox fan with him, and it's been misery ever since. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that, but
So what Bob said isn't entirely true. We do have majority, Cubs fans, well, used to be Cubs fans. Like our grandmother, she was a Cubs fan, but hopped over to the Yankees. Uncle Joe, big Yankees fan. Uncle Luigi, big Boston Red Sox fan, unfortunately. So we're not that close with them anymore. Just kidding. But yes, our parents are Cubs fans, majority.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just introducing ourselves. We'll start probably getting into some of the sports things now, going over the sports. Just so everyone's aware, I want to make it kind of clear that this is kind of more just for fans. Like we're fanatics. We're Chicago sports fanatics. We're not professional sports analysts. We're not professional sports journalists. We're literally fans talking and giving our opinions. So for those of you, don't take anything too seriously about what we say. I mean, we're just giving our opinions on things. Andrew might actually be able to be a professional sports analyst for the Cubs, but me and Brandon, I don't know. But yeah.
I have big shoes to fill now. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that, buddy. All right, I guess I'll just jump into things since we already introduced ourselves.
Yep.
I'm gonna start off by talking about the Cubs, of course. I got the nice polo shirt, the nice hat on from spring training, which we wore there. Good time. Sloan Park's beautiful. We also went to the White Sox park. I didn't know that they actually shared a park with the Dodgers. You learn something new every day. That was a nice stadium as well. But jumping right into it, I'm gonna go over the Cubs. Like the record right now is 78-69. As of late, they have been doing not so good. We did lose 3 out of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Not something you want to see, especially coming to an end with the regular season. We lost 2 out of 3 from the Rockies, which is almost embarrassing considering they're one of the worst teams in baseball. So
what's unfortunate too? Arizona just put a beating on the Cubs. As soon as Arizona left Chicago, they're getting beat down by the Mets.
Yeah.
Kind of a rough stretch.
Which is good for us,
That's the crazy thing too, Andrew, about baseball. I mean, obviously, your knowledge on baseball compared to mine is definitely significantly different. But it's crazy how like the Cubs going and playing in the Diamondbacks. You would think, like looking at their records and the talent, you would think that they would win every the series against them, and they didn't. But they beat the Braves in a series, but they can't beat the Diamond.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind in baseball how things could change like that.
Let's not forget, Arizona does have some pretty solid people on their team. Like they have Zach Allen, who's a Cy Young finalist this year, very good pitcher.
Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll, the rookie, who's having a phenomenal season. I mean, ridiculous. If you want to pull up the stats on Corbin Carroll, I'd love to share them. They have Ketel Marte. He's also very solid.
And that's one thing also. We are all diehard Chicago sports fans, but we are in this podcast, we intend on talking about sports in general. Like, no team is off limits. If there's a hot topic on a team that's that's unrelated to Chicago, we might touch on them. But what's going to happen is everything's going to come back to Chicago sports at the end of the day. So I hope you guys don't mind. I'm sure you enjoy that.
Yeah.
We're all big fantasy sports fans as well.
Definitely.
So we hit all the teams.
Definitely. And Corbin Carroll against the Cubs, he killed us. Let's be honest. And I want you guys to understand, if you don't know, if you're just a casual fan, this guy is in his first season ever since being called up. His rookie campaign, 104 runs, 24 homers, 69 RBIs, whopping 47 stolen bases with 53, 278 batting average, and 358 on base. In a rookie campaign, that is pretty incredible.
So we're all learning something every day.
Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm not lying.
Corbin Carroll is rookie eligible this year.
Yes. This is his first season ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's got to be the shoe-in, huh?
So
who else
I would
is up there?
imagine, James Outman from the Dodgers, he really turned his season around. I know he started off very hot. He went through a very cold stretch to where he wasn't really producing much. His defense was even a little iffy. Wasn't sure what they were going to do with him, if they were going to drop him or whatnot, but they actually ended up lowering him in the lineup, which I think helped them out in the long run, because now almost in playoff October, James Alvin came out of nowhere, and now he's doing phenomenal. So that's another Rookie of the Year candidate. We'll see if that sticks, though, which I don't expect him to win. But going back to the Cubs, does anyone want to add anything on that?
Only thing I'll add is me and Andrew, we're in a fantasy football league together. Fantasy baseball, excuse me. And we know more than anybody how much of an up and down season James Outman has. I think each of us have picked him up and dropped him from waivers a couple times each. Yeah. So we know how streaky he's been, but he's been a good player overall.
And hopefully, next year, Joe, he joins us in fantasy.
That'd be great.
We got to top the cherry on you, Joe, huh?
I'm down, man. I'm down. I'm game.
Cool.
Sure.
But the Cubs, right now we stand in second place in the NL Central. We're currently 78-69. We want to see a better record against, going down the stretch. I think the Cubs have.
So this is a question for both you guys. I really want to discuss the National League wild card race right now. I think that's a hot topic. I think we're down the stretch on the season. And I think, as we all know, there's only 3 slots available. There's probably 6 teams vying for this right now. So we have the Phillies sitting at 79-67, 12 games over 500, 4 games in the top spot. Of course, our Chicago Cubs are the second seed at this moment as far as the wild card goes, 1.5 games behind Philly. After that, it's a dogfight, straight up. We got San Fran, Cincinnati, Arizona, and Miami. 3 teams tied. Miami is half a game out. So I'll ask you guys. I have this. I mentioned the stats, the standings. Who do you got in the top 3? Who, if the season were to, if you had a guess who's going to end up in the top 3, what order and who?
That's a question for Andrew.
Okay, question for me. So obviously, I'll just state the obvious. The Cubs shouldn't be shooting for a wild card spot. We should be shooting for the division. I think we are very capable of winning the division. Granted, we are 4.5 games back right now. Getting kind of late or mid-September, which is a little alarming. We might have to settle for a wild card spot. I think the Cubs for sure locked in their second spot. They are only 1.5 games behind the Phillies for the first wild card spot.
That is correct.
I think it's possible. Obviously, it's very possible we caught the Phillies. This bad stretch that we've been on did not help us out. But if I had to make a guess, maybe I'm a little biased. I think the Cubs are going to end the season on a very, very big hot streak, and we're going to ultimately take the number 1 wild card spot, and it's going to be between, in my opinion, Arizona and Phillies fighting for.
So that's an optimistic Cubs fan right there. Yes. The number 1 wild card spot.
Yes. Well, we're only a game and a half behind, and I think with Justin Steele and Marcus Stroman returning, and the Cubs offense, I don't care what anyone says.
What's your argument
with the Phillies?
What's your argument about the Phillies year in and year out just dominating the second half of the season? What is leading you to believe that the Phillies are going to pump the brakes enough to where the Cubs can surpass them?
Well, I think the Phillies starting pitching staff is a little iffy. Just like they have Aaron Nola, who's had a horrible season.
Marcus Stroman being back helps.
I would understand. I drafted Aaron Nola in both leagues in fantasy, so it's been a painful year to watch him play. They do have Zach Wheeler, of course. Zach Wheeler's an absolute stud. He's actually, a finalist for Cy Young as well. We'll see how that. But Justin Steele being up there, Marcus Stroman returning, Kyle Hendricks pitching well. Javier Assad has pitched very good as of recent, but last 2 starts, his future is a little interesting. And the big picture here is Jordan Wicks. If Jordan Wicks continues to pitch the way he does,
he's an X factor.
If Jordan Wicks continues to pitch the way he does, and the Cubs have a punch with Justin Steele and Jordan Wicks, I think we have the better pitching staff. than Philadelphia, and our offense, like I said previously, is up to par with Phillies.
Which I feel like that was part of the problem with the Cubs.
Yeah.
The bullpen having a pitching problem.
That's.
So,
I agree, Joe.
Yeah.
I think the bullpen is
Okay.
really the big picture
Do
here.
you guys really trust Craig Kimbrell, though, in Philadelphia? I get it. One of the greatest closers of all time. Granted, I need to even look up his season stats. I haven't really been paying attention to him that much, but I know in recent seasons he's been up and down, and that's plays pretty big.
If I'm not mistaken, the Cubs have like a platoon closing role,
So
right? Who is the Cubs' main closer?
No, it's not. It's not a platoon.
Is it Alzolay?
It's Adbert Alzolay.
Okay, that's
Adbert
what I thought.
Alzolay pitched out of his mind. He secured that spot 100%.
did you hear what I said, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You did.
Oh, what'd you
I
say?
said Chapman. I was joking.
Aroldis Chapman.
I mean, if we had 2016 Chapman,
That's what
I would love
That's
for
what I was
that. Yeah, I would
talking about.
absolutely
that one
love.
time.
I was actually at his debut game, Chapman, against the White Sox in 2016. Great time.
And
great
Andrew,
atmosphere.
you were saying that.
I was at Yoan Moncada's debut game. Yeah, his career is really kicking off.
I unfortunately can't say that,
Yeah.
but so you were saying that in the MLB now, that they're kind of getting away from closers and they're leaning more towards like just relief pitchers.
Well, no,
No, okay.
you're kind of in the right ballpark. I think the excuse me, I'm trying to say here is that bullpen arms, they fluctuate so often. Like they're
Sure.
good for a short stretch of 2 years,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they fall off. I
Crazy,
think
yeah.
the whole like mega contract for closers, we're not going to see those anymore,
Sure.
unless you're like maybe Josh Hader, who's still young and is a stud. Someone like Felix Bautista. He was actually like halfway into the season. They were talking about he might be a Cy Young Award finalist. As a closer, that's pretty insane. So
if
I
you
think
can produce, you'll
yeah.
get the
But the
money.
whole point is,
That's the hardest position in baseball. being a closer.
bullpens,
A successful one.
guys come and go all the time. Like the Cubs this year, Julian Merriweather. Mark Leiter Jr. Like Michael Fulmer. All of these guys have been around. I think they're all in their 30s. Lower mid 30s, but they're all having career years. So
Sure.
you never know when someone's going to step up or when not.
Yeah.
So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good.
But going back to your question about the closer for the Cubs, that was Adbert Alzolay. Adbert Alzolay, very good, very good. Unfortunately, though, he's on the IL.
And you know what? Since you came back to my question,
Yeah.
I want us to go back, or whomever, to go back to the original question that I had. And we don't have to stick on it too long. I know we want to touch on some football and other things.
Yeah, of course.
But I do want to ask you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
From my experience, I think the Phillies, they've proven it the last couple of years how fantastic they play in the second half. You look at Trey Turner heating up, Harper, Schwarber, all heating up at the same time. You're not going to hold those guys down, man. You know what? I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, the Cubs could get the number one wild card, not with the way they've been playing the last week, but there's a month left in the season, right? So who knows?
Maybe the Diamondbacks are getting hot. It doesn't matter, right? Because there's no chance of them making the playoffs. So.
Well, it's actually a 3-way tie right now.
Is it
between
really?
San
Okay.
Francisco
So
and
anyways,
Arizona
we're getting
this
off
season.
topic
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I just want to make sure we get it covered. So, okay, we got Phillies, we got Cubs. I agree with that. Who will get that third spot? Considering that there's 4 teams half game away from each other. And let me say it again. Here, I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Joe, even if you don't know that much, doesn't matter, dude. We're having fun. Just tell me what you think. Andrew, you as well, all right? So here.
Sure.
Wild card. All right. Who's getting that third spot? San Fran, Cincy, Arizona, or Miami? And why?
I will start. I'm, Cincinnati, I think they're going to be an issue in the future. I don't think this is their season. Cincinnati has a bunch of young prospects that came up that have been playing good. Ellie De La Cruz, McLean, Spencer Steer, etc. Their pitching, that needs some work. So I don't think they have the pitching to get them there. They have one of the best coaches in baseball with Elias Diaz, I think. No, that's Diaz. That's his last name. I'm not sure what his first name is, but he's one of the best. San Francisco, I don't like their offense. I really don't. Brandon Crawford's old. They don't have much going for them on offense.
They have that bum. No, did they trade Mitch Haniger?
They have Mitch Haniger.
They have, okay,
they
yeah.
Still
they
have Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, that bum.
But they do have Logan Webb, and Logan Webb, I believe, is one of the most underrated players in baseball.
Who?
Logan Webb.
Oh, yeah, he's a beast.
So their pitching is better than their offense for sure. Arizona, I think, is better than all those teams discussed. So I'm sticking with the Arizona Diamondbacks in the third hole.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't want to give a boring answer.
I'm surprised even.
Joe, who do you think?
So, this is a great question for me, because if somebody asked me this question, the first person I would call to ask would be Andrew. Andrew, hey, this guy's asking me who would make it, as third in the playoffs. And Andrew, I would be like, okay, I would go with what he said. So, because I honestly.
No, yeah.
That's. Yeah,
but
dude, I only watch if I'm watching
Right.
baseball, I'm literally only watching the Cubs.
This guy's our Bears. This guy's our Chicago Bears expert. So.
Well,
I was just about to add that. We all are Chicago fans. We all watch the Bears, the Cubs, the White Sox, etc. But some of us know more than the others about certain teams. Like right now, I'm speaking a lot about baseball, as is my brother Brandon, because we're big baseball fans. I'm not saying Joe isn't, but we just know more about it due to fantasy purposes and just throughout the years.
Yes, for sure. But the last thing I'll say on this topic specifically is, dude, I think I agree. I think you convinced me. I think when you take Zach Gallen, Cy Young, not front runner, but top 5. You take Merrill Kelly, who just fucking almost cost me my week of fantasy this week.
I didn't even bring up Kelly.
Yeah, Merrill Kelly.
Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, it's a dynamic 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
They have Gurriel, Jr. as well. He's a pretty solid bat.
They're just an exciting young team.
Yeah. They have, and let's not forget, they have Christian Walker, their first baseman.
Yeah.
Christian Walker's a monster.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of nice pieces.
They have a couple forgettable players, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not I don't know every player on Arizona like some other teams. I'll know every player. But out of all of these teams, Miami, they just can't get it together. They're a poverty franchise, I'm sorry. There's a reason Jeter got out of there. Cincinnati, they just don't have it. Not yet. I agree. I think Arizona. So
you say Miami's a poverty franchise. I agree, but I do like what Skip Schumacher has done in his first year as the manager in Miami. He has been very good. So I will just say that for you Miami Marlins fans watching. If there are any Miami Marlins fans watching, highly doubt it. Skip Schumacher is going to be a good manager for you guys.
We've been to the new Marlins Stadium. It's really nice. I'll give you guys that. No, but honestly, a couple things. If we're talking about Miami for a second. Sandy Alcantara, what a weird season for that guy. The dude is an absolute monster, and he's been better he's been a lot better lately, but what a horrid start to the first season. Take what Sandy's done in the second half, make that the whole season with how bad he was. The Marlins are probably, give him 5 more wins, the Marlins are up there with the Phillies and Chicago above the other teams. So, Luzardo's been a stud. He's taken a lot of strides forward. I think look at Arise. In terms of numbers, production, not insane.
Okay.
But dude gets on base.
Okay, maybe not going off topic, but who really won that trade? The Twins or Miami? Between Pablo Lopez and Luis Arise?
That's a great fucking question.
Pablo Lopez is a stud. Pablo Lopez is definitely a stud. He's a very good pitcher. Luis Arise, batting .350. Of course, you're going to be a stud. He's going to win. Well, it's getting close with Corey Seager and Luis Arise, but he's probably going to win the batting champ. No, that's never mind.
That's an impossible question to answer. If you are, I think both players are good. I can't get in the minds of the GMs and determine why they thought what they thought and why they did it. But I think neither person lost the trade because it was a good player for a good player. We see it too often where there's a shit player. We were just talking about the other day. We saw it on MLB Network. We were watching. You saw a Red Sox trade. Alex Verdugo for Mookie Betts. That's a trade you want to take back all day, every day. This trade, I don't see it that way. I think both teams profited in one way and maybe, lost out in another way. Look, how would the Twins be with a rise? Even better. You lose Pablo, but you're better with the rise. So
I think their pitching is the issue, though. So the trade made sense, but I just want to put a thought out there for you guys. Imagine Luis Arraez on a team like the Braves. On a team like the Braves. That dynamic offense with how often Luis Arraez gets on. That'd be very scary. But
as good as Luis Arraez is, the Cubbies will always have the chipmunk, Nick Madrigal, and that's all that matters.
And
Nicky Two Strikes, the chipmunk, the little man, the 5'8" assassin, the ex-White Sox player. What a stud.
I think that's a good way to describe Nick Madrigal, the 5'8" assassin. And I just want to say one thing here. The Cubs last season with Nick Madrigal, they were playing him at second base, He wasn't good. We obviously have Nico Horner. Nico Horner's our guy. But they threw Nick Madrigal into the freaking water with the Sharks and said, let's see how you do at third base. Nick Madrigal, and he's in the upper percentile of all defensive runs saved in baseball with guys like Nola Arenado, Brian Hayes, Ryan McMahon on Colorado. So he's very impressive. And he actually worked his way into the Cubs starting third baseman, which I'm very happy for him. Hopefully he continues to do good. And but yeah, he's made very major strides this year.
Still miss Chris Bryant,
yeah.
Man.
Chris Bryant's a disaster. That contract, thank God we got it.
Every time I bring it up.
Yeah.
You know what? I hold my ground. Nick Madrigal, and this is coming from a Sox fan. We all know the jokes, right? But I'm going to keep saying it because I think it might happen. Nick Madrigal will be Mr. 3000 before he retires.
That's
a very bold statement. I don't know if I could get behind that. If he stays healthy and has a long career, for sure, but he doesn't hit homers, so he's going to rely on,
He's going to have 3,000 hits with 15 home runs. Maybe.
Well, we'll see. Nick Madrigal, if you're watching, I hope that happens.
And zero steals with his little leg.
Yeah.
Actually, Madrigal, you should come on the podcast one day, dude. We'd love to have you.
That would be,
right?
I would love to have you. And you're not a chipmunk. You are, grown adult.
No, but honestly, Nick, I was devastated when you left the Sox.
Yeah.
I can be honest. I really was a fan of you, dude. I thought you were an amazing with Timmy with how good Timmy was. Timmy at the number 1 hole. And then you at the 9 hole, I thought that was just phenomenal. And when you left, I knew we wouldn't be able to fill that hole, and we sure as fuck had him. So,
I just want to.
On that note, does anyone need a beer refresh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please. I just want to bring up one more thing, and then, like I said, we have a bunch of Chicago Bears stuff to talk about, which we're going to be getting into very soon. But Jamison Tyone, one of the prize free agents in Chicago. I think they signed him 4 years, $78 million. It might be more than that.
More than $78 million.
That deal, what a disaster. There's no other way to put it. The Cubs. I mean, hopefully this case is the first season blues. I think I like to call it, if you guys understand. Usually, when a free agent comes to a different city, they usually struggle for a grace period. Hopefully next season we can do better.
I was going to ask you, it seems like as of lately, the money that some of these players are getting, in every professional sports, that they sign these big contracts and you see a decline in just their performance. And I almost wonder, it's hey, I worked up this far, this hard to get to this contract, to get this money. Realistically, that's why you play professional sports, I feel like, is because if you get into the pros, you're making big bucks, man, and the fame, all that stuff.
No,
so he's already famous. He has a big contract. So you
think that he just, maybe doesn't pitch up to his usual standard because he already made his money? And baseball is guaranteed money.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not. Let's just pray that's not the case. But Jamison Tyone season stats right now are 138 innings pitched. That's not that many. You want to see that bumped up, especially in mid-September. That's not good. He's not eating enough innings, which doesn't help out the bullpen. Leads to a bunch of issues. He's 7-10. I know baseball stepped away from really caring about the win-loss record because that's not really on the pitcher.
Can I just make a comment on that?
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. I won't.
I'm in the semifinals championship round in our fantasy baseball league, and I'm facing Raisel Iglesias, the Braves closer, as you know.
Yes, that's a good point.
And
yes.
He, to Andrew's point, the win category is broken. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I think it shouldn't have any impact on Cy Young. I think it's a aesthetic stat. You see a player.
Yes, that's a very good way to.
If you see a player who's 15-3, you just you're wowed by it. But the fact is Raisel Iglesias, I'm playing him this week. He blew 2 games in a row, ended up with the win in the game because it got tied and then the Braves scored in the bottom half of the inning. So. It's just a broken stat, and I'm firsthand frustrated with it this week. So absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, dude.
Thank you, Bob. He has 127 strikeouts on the season. That's not enough. A whopping 5.27 ERA. That's not even fifth starter material. That's just you shouldn't even be in the rotation at that point. His WHIP is a staggering 1.31. It's pretty. It's not good. It's not good. And only 7 quality starts on the season. If you guys don't know what a quality start is, it's 6 innings pitched with 3 earned or less, on the game. So that means he's not going deep into ball games. He's giving up a lot of earned runs. He's not striking out guys. So next year, I think this is a wash season for Jameson. I personally, if I was David Ross, I would not put him on the playoff rotation or the playoff roster. I don't think there's any scenario where he allows him on there unless he pitches completely lights out for the rest of the year. Even then, I still wouldn't. But hopefully next year he turns his season around. 1 year in Chicago, gets his roots starting to grow a little bit, maybe feel more comfortable. But I think if anyone else wants to add something about baseball, now's your chance. I think we've talked enough about baseball to where.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I covered everything.
I just had some, some questions.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to wait till you were finished. So
yeah, go ahead.
So, so the Cubs pretty much, not for sure sealed it, but it sounds like they've sealed a wild card number 2 spot. You're saying?
So if they play the way they've been playing, then absolutely not.
Okay.
So because we are only 2.5 games above Arizona right now.
Okay.
Above 4 teams.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
4 teams.
Whole different landscape in
the Cubs make it into the wild card spot, into the playoffs. What do you want to see, or what do you what do the Cubs have to do to proceed and win in the playoffs?
Well, I'm a firm believer that if you play, I don't know if the term small ball is correct, but you play defense well.
Okay.
You got to make sure you field and catch the pop outs and fly outs and stuff like that. That's number one. The Cubs have one of the best defenses in baseball. We have a bunch of future Gold Glove awards with PCA, Nico Warner, Cody Bellinger plays Gold Glove at 2 positions.
What Ian Happ did the other day can't happen, dude.
Yeah.
Shit happens. It's a fluke. But
definitely a fluke, but you're right.
He's been playing that
because that's a prime example, and he's 100% correct about small ball. Because Brandon, do you recall what happened immediately after he dropped that ball?
A 2-run homer.
The next pitch was a 2-run homer.
So instead of 3-3, 3-5.
Yes, and the Cubs went on to lose that game.
Of course.
So that in the playoffs absolutely cannot happen. So defense is a number one, not number one, but it's a big priority toward you got to get the outs.
Okay.
Don't give the team extra outs because that's what is going to kill you.
Right. So they have to definitely execute on defense.
Yeah, they got to execute on defense, but there's so many.
That's
there's many.
But that's the main thing. So most likely, you never know what could happen. The Cubs could go on to win the World Series. You never know. Or go really far in the playoffs. Not this year, but next year. What is what do they have to do, like, this offseason to improve, to make sure that they're playoff / World Series contenders?
So I have a hot take right now, okay? Hot take. I want your guys' opinion. Now, I dogged on Aaron Nola earlier in this session about how he's just been horrible this season, but I think Aaron Nola in Chicago is a complete different ballgame. And let's go over the details of my reasoning. So let's not pretend Nicholas Castellanos, he's not a good outfielder, right? Mm-hmm. Kyle Schwarber is probably the worst outfielder in all of baseball, right? Bryce Harper, first year playing first base. I mean, he's done pretty well, but I'm sure there's still...
Kyle Schwarber's one of those guys that's just good at hitting the ball, but kind of mediocre.
Yeah, just, like, I think with the Cubs defense, it's really going to play dividends for Aaron Nola. He does strike out guys.
Have always had bad defense. Always.
And you want to know the crazy thing about Nola is that Nola, his whip is elite. It's very good.
Yeah.
He doesn't really walk guys that much, but his issue is.
Do you remember the Phillies pre-DH when they had to put Schwarber in the outfield and Castellanos?
Well, they actually are forced to play Kyle Schwarber in the outfield now because of Bryce Harper.
That is true.
Because Bryce Harper.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, I mean, it's an issue. It's a definite issue for the Phillies.
Who's their center fielder, dude?
Brandon Marsh.
That scraggly.
Yeah, he looks like a caveman for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, nice beard,
Yeah.
Nice flow going, but
I mean, as someone who can't grow shit.
Yeah, he definitely would.
Pretty jealous,
he definitely wouldn't be allowed in the Yankees. Let's just say that.
He's not. He ain't no Brandon Nimmo though. Brandon Nimmo, love that guy. Not a Mets fan, but I'm a big Brandon Nimmo fan.
So Andrew, I know you've had some concerns with.
The
manager.
Before we get into this, I just want to finish.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So I think they could use a pitcher. I would like Nola if we get him in the right price, but he's probably going to cost a lot.
Sure.
But I just think he would be better in Chicago than Philadelphia. And the biggest...
So get Nola, definitely playoff / World Series contender.
That's if we re-sign Cody Bellinger.
Okay.
The Cubs have to re-sign Cody Bellinger, even with PCA coming up. There's no guarantee he's a rookie, even though he's very highly touted. If PCA, his bat doesn't develop, he'll always have some value with defense and speed, but ultimately it's what your bat matters, right? There's a reason why Kyle Schwarber is getting paid a lot of money to play in Philadelphia. Even though he makes errors, he hits bombs and nukes and freaking walks every at bat. So very important.
I hope that the Cubs have better luck than the White Sox did, because the White Sox were actually when the White Sox really needed him. What's up, Joe?
I was gonna say, like, for the last 5 years, I've heard almost like for the Bears, that this is the Sox year. They're going to be good next year. It's always that. That's what I always hear with the Sox.
Yeah.
My brother and my dad are big Sox fans, unfortunately. My mom is
Your dad's a Sox fan?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
Well, he's both. He likes both. He likes both teams, but he's
Okay.
more of like a kind of a Sox fan. Dude, so my grandpa tried out for the Cubs back in the 50s.
Really?
Yeah, because he used to be able to try out for the Cubs back then.
Yeah.
So my mom was a huge Cubs fan because her dad tried out for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah,
liked the Cubs.
that's cool.
And this is where I get to the best pitch in baseball is 2-seam, 4-seam, high pitch fastball, probably, right?
It's a very hard pitch.
So
yes,
my grandpa would always say
a four-seam fastball high in the zone.
He could hit every pitch, but the one that he couldn't hit was the fastball.
And if you can't hit a fastball,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you're
anyways,
like when you're playing MLB The Show. You throw your opponent a high fastball, he's gonna miss it every time.
Yeah, no, right.
It's impossible.
One of the best pitches, right, in baseball.
Or if you're Andrew, throw it right down the middle to him. He can't hit those for some reason.
Anyways, to get back to my point is that
very true.
My brother and my dad always say that. Oh, I remember for the last probably like 3 years. They've said, oh, next year the Cubs are gonna, on paper, they're gonna be like the greatest team, and it ends up never happening. Well, Brandon, maybe you could answer that. Well, when we get to the Sox, but
so
why is that?
Free agency for the Cubs this offseason. I want to see another pitcher. I want to see Cody Bellinger get signed, and the Cubs need to fill their first base hole because we've had pretty pretty shitty production out of first base other than Cody Bellinger being there. Because Patrick Wisdom's not it. Patrick Wisdom should not be on the team. He's not a good defensive player. He strikes out at a staggering clip, which is not good. He's not the quickest. There's just nothing about Patrick Wisdom where I believe he should be on a team. So
but he's full of wisdom.
And Candelario,
Nice.
yeah, very true. He has a lot of wisdom. Too bad he can't.
Stupid joke.
Too bad he can't put that on the field, and put it to use.
Maybe he'll be a coach one day with his wisdom.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll be after they fire.
And
David.
Candelario,
Maybe he'll use all that wisdom
Once they fire
to
David Ross.
flip burgers in the concessions one day.
and Candelario's looking as if like we really shouldn't have got him either.
Then final question,
So-
Andrew. Sorry, you finished. Final
Yeah,
question.
so the Cubs need a first baseman, re-sign Cody Bellinger, and a pitcher for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
So for them to be playoff / Super Bowl contenders next year. Another question I have, final question. They're not going to fire David Ross this year if they make the playoffs.
I'm not I'm not the biggest David Ross fan, and there's a lot that goes into that for sure. I think though I will say that it's going to be incredibly hard to fire David Ross, and although I don't agree with the way he works the bullpen every now and then and smaller issues, but players, especially a young team like the Cubs, they get you get attached and accustomed to a manager. So
Good culture, you're saying.
yeah, so I mean they got the culture going, they got the winning attitude, and I think the Cubs would ultimately take a step back if David Ross is not in Chicago next season, even though I think there are more they're better candidates, let's just say. But I think he's very important to stay in Chicago for simple fact that the clubhouse, and the culture and all that.
And final question. Do you think that Matt Eberflus is calling up David Ross and asking David Ross for advice on football? And do you think that David Ross calls up Matt Eberflus and asks him for baseball advice and start and stuff and starting batting positions? Do you think that happens? That's a serious question, by the way.
Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
All right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to say no. Although that is pretty funny, Joe. I will admit. The Cubs do have some good brains in that organization, where I'm sure David Ross could reach out.
I think Eberflus needs to reach out to Jerry Jones and the
Dude.
Cowboys and needs to figure out how to beat a team 40-0.
But I do want to bring up one more thing before we move on to football. Is that okay, gentlemen?
But in what regard? What
I just want to.
Is this Cubs related?
Yeah. I just want to talk about Seiya Suzuki for a second.
Sure. Oh gosh.
And then after you're done, Andrew, I want to address Joe's comments about the White Sox.
Okay.
As much as the White Sox, get under my skin, when I get challenged with a hard hitting Sox question, I got to answer it. So go ahead. I'm also going to address one more thing after you're done. Go ahead.
So Seiya Suzuki, I have written down in my notes right here. I think it's pretty funny. You guys tell me if it's funny or not. But resurrected from the dead. Seiya Suzuki last season, he's been riddled with injuries. To start the season, he's been riddled with injuries. Wasn't really looking good for Chicago. Ultimately paid him 5 years, $85 million, with I believe I forgot the term they used, but like a signing bonus for the team. So the Cubs had to pay an additional $15 million for the posting fee. Excuse me. Yeah. So ultimately, it was a 5-year, $100 million deal. But last month's standings are pretty ridiculous for Seiya Suzuki. 37 out of 104, 20 runs, 6 homers, 22 RBIs. He's not fast, he's not quick, so he only has 1 stolen base. But thankfully we have Nico Horner for that. He has 50. Can't read my own handwriting, excuse me. So we're just gonna blur that out. But 356 batting average and a 400 on base. So he is drawing his walks, he is getting his base hits, he is hitting for power, he is driving in runs, he is hitting in the clutch. So hats off to Seiya Suzuki. His defense has also improved. Hopefully he could continue this success because we really need Seiya Suzuki, and that would be a huge blow to the Cubs if he doesn't work out for us.
So it's funny that you bring up Suzuki. What was it, about a month and a half ago? He was horrible, horrendous,
Yeah.
awful. So I think after Andrew said that he's awful and like horrendous, this was like probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah. Well,
he's been playing out of his mind.
Well, Joe.
So he should call you up.
Well,
he should
Joe,
give you half of that money.
Joe, if you recall, so me and Joe watch some Cubs games together.
Yeah.
And Joe, if you recall, I said that Seiya Suzuki should not be a starting right fielder for the Cubs, especially because Michael Tauchman at the time was playing very well. We had Cody Bellinger and all of that. So I said from the start, Seiya Suzuki should not be a starting right fielder anymore. Right after that was said, David Ross, as you guys know, he benched Seiya for I think 4 games, and after that 4-game bench, I think something just like dawned on Seiya Suzuki, and he just kind of resurrected from the dead. He just like, hey, I gotta get into gear, or else I'm in jeopardy of not playing anymore. Maybe getting cut, clearing waivers. So
he had to actually start trying.
Yeah. So hats off to David Ross for benching him, kicked him in the ass a little bit, started that fire, and Suzuki.
Yeah,
keep it going, man.
That reminds me of Chase Claypool, which, Joe, I'm sure we're going to get into soon here.
We got a lot.
But before we get into that, hold on. Before we get into that, let me say something.
Yeah.
You made a comment about Aaron Nola going to the Cubs, right?
Yes.
Aaron Nola equals Phillies. When I think of Aaron Nola, I think of he's a pitcher. He plays for the Phillies. When I think of a Phillies pitcher, I think of Zach Wheeler. I hope you guys are a little bit more lucky than the White Sox, because I feel like this partially answers Joe's question.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is, till this day, still there's a little bit of disappointment. We all know Zach Wheeler was offered over $120 million 5-year contract by the White Sox.
Do you know how much he got in Philly? He actually took a pay cut, right?
He took a pay cut
to
make 118. So the White Sox could land their guy. Zach Wheeler's been a stud. I hope the White Sox or the Cubs had more luck. That's all I'm saying. More,
and
more luck.
That's kind of surprising too, because at that time, better than anyone, the White Sox were trending up, a lot.
They were.
Their farm system was, I think, number 1 in baseball. To be honest, it was insane.
Well, the bottom line is, and this is actually what happened. I mean, I'm not over here talking to Vinny Duber and Ryan McGuffey and Chuck Garfield, so I can't say for sure, but I think it was Zach Wheeler's wife made that decision. She's an East Coast fan. She wanted to stay closer to the East Coast, and I think he took a pay cut to make her happy, and that's good for them.
Well, their spouses definitely
not good for the White Sox.
Their spouses definitely play a lot into it, because Dansby Swanson's wife plays for. Sorry, my apologies for not knowing the team, Swanson's wife, but she plays for a female Major League Soccer team in Chicago. And she was already signed here. So I think it was an easy decision for Dansby Swanson to sign here because of his wife, Yeah. So the family does matter, and if the wife didn't want to, then...
No, dude, no offense, dude. I can't, name one professional women's sport team. No offense to them, but I just don't,
All right, so I know the Chicago Sky. I know the Chicago Sky.
Is it a baseball?
That's the WNBA.
WNBA, yeah.
Chicago Sky, and then you got the...
Yeah, good job, Andrew.
Moving on.
All right.
Stop.
Yeah. We're definitely going to have to blur that shit out so we're not misogynistic.
We're not, though.
Yeah, for sure. I was about to say,
hey,
the boys are sticking around. All the women are like, fuck this fucking podcast. So we're probably not going to air that anymore.
Yeah.
But if we do,
we
come on, it's funny.
Dude, let me tell you this. If I ask my mom right now, who would she rather watch?
Hold on, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought on the Sox.
Let Brandon finish his thoughts.
The Bears.
Let Brandon finish his thoughts, and then we can jump into.
We're gonna get to the Bears.
There's a lot of key points for the Chicago Bears. So stay tuned.
Listen. We've talked about the Cubs for 50 minutes. Let me get 5 minutes on the Sox. Then we'll go to the Bears.
The floor is all yours.
I brought up that point about, I was making a joke, right? Good luck to the Cubs on getting Nola. The White Sox had their tribulations. Zach Wheeler would have been nice on the White Sox. As it stands, after trading Giolito, who, as we know, got designated, which is actually hilarious. I like Giolito. I respect him, whatever. The White Sox right now are currently running in their starting rotation of 5. We got Dylan Cease, what is he sporting? A 6 ERA on the season? It's something
Pretty bad.
atrocious. After the
I
season
could
he had
actually
last
pull
year,
it up for you.
Mike Clevenger.
Who's been good as of late, no?
You know what? It's hard to say when the team's been playing as bad as they have. We have Tuki Toussaint, Jesse Schultens, and Jose Urena. It's been a disaster of a season. I think there's way too many. There's a lot of things that have caused that to happen. I think the main thing that's caused that is just underperforming players. I think if you look back 2 years ago, the amount of talent on this team has been ridiculous. I mean, you can watch any network, you can read any opinion of any journalist. They'll tell you that this White Sox team had the most talent we've seen in a long time. But when you have a number one prospect overall, like Moncada, the jersey on Sporting, unfortunately, when you have a guy like that who can't stay healthy.
I
and
call
just
him
completely
the
underperformed.
human highlighter, by the way.
Human highlight.
Right.
But and that's the main thing, the health. I mean, look at Eloy. How can you expect a guy like Eloy Jimenez to catch fire, and stay hot when you get injured every 5 seconds? As a Sox fan, I just recall time after time after time. Spring training, you got Eloy Jimenez tearing his pectoral. You got Luis Robert. So much hype around this guy. Hamstring out for 3 months. It's hard to be a Sox fan. Injuries really have been what's plagued us. It's caused clubhouse issues.
Brandon, if you're wondering right now, they're losing to the Twins 6-0.
It doesn't surprise you.
So,
At this point,
so Dylan Cease has a 4.87 ERA. Not good. Yeah. So not good. After the season he had last year, not good. The strikeouts are still there, I think. But Mike Clevenger is actually doing fairly decent this year. Pretty good actually. He doesn't have that many innings pitched, and there was some controversy around his name earlier in the season, which isn't good. But 114 innings pitched, 7-8 record, which we know we don't really care about. 101 strikeouts, 3.61 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, 8 quality starts. So the ERA is pretty good. The WHIP, I mean, whatever, it could be better, but still not bad.
I think, and I'll wrap this up, okay? Because I do want to talk about the Bears. I think that's a more relevant topic. The only comment I'm going to make on, I feel like this is really important on our number one episode, is that this is a new era of Chicago White Sox baseball. I'm not even going to pretend that I'm an optimistic Sox fan, because I'm not. But the reality is that Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams, they're gone. I'm not going to make any comments on Chris Getz yet. I don't love it. But I'm not going to go too deep into that. It's a new era of Chicago White Sox baseball. We're going to get a good draft pick next year. We got to make the right draft picks. We got to get the right people in our front office. We got to wait for some of these contracts to expire, and in a couple years, maybe the White Sox can turn it around. And I'll leave it at that for now.
And one thing, I can't believe Kenny Williams stayed the president of operations for as long as
because Jerry Reinsdorf.
That was
because Jerry Reinsdorf puts friendships before business, and that's just the bottom line. He puts friendships before business, and he was Kenny's friend.
The White Sox are clearly going through a full rebuild of their team. So good luck to you guys. Chris Getz, good luck to you. Hopefully you guys can
I'll have to say good luck to the Chicago Bulls having Jerry as their owner.
And, unfortunately, sad to see, but remember when pretty recently, there were 2 people shot inside of the cell.
Yeah.
Did
you hear about how the lady snuck the gun in? She put it underneath her fat, then walked in through the metal detector undetected, and it went off. It didn't. Luckily, no one got hurt that I know of.
But yes, no,
that's scary.
Sad. It's a very sad.
Imagine you go to a game with your kids.
Yeah,
very sad reality. 2 people got shot at the cell, but that's just a true testament.
Was that a game or a concert?
Game.
Dude, and the other thing is too, the culture for
maybe
the
it was
Sox,
a concert after the game.
I think it's bad.
It's just
They
a
have
testament
bad
that
culture,
the White
man.
Sox are a dumpster fire right now. Chris Getz has
There's
a
no-
lot of work to do.
What is there to do? Like,
There's a lot to talk about with the Sox.
dude, the one nice thing about the Sox, I'll give, they have way better tailgating, obviously, than the Cubs.
Well, because the Cubs don't have a
They
parking
have
lot. You
Wrigleyville.
take public
I get it, dude.
transportation.
You got
Yeah.
Wrigleyville. That's what they do. That's like their culture. But the
And there's no point in
tailgating's cool,
tailgating
man.
when there's
Tailgating is
thousands
cool.
of bars in there.
You know what we do? We just go to the second Cubs field.
You just
Go
show
there.
up drunk, you know.
No, the second Cubs field.
That's not every Cubs fan.
The Sox have good food.
Miller Park.
Yeah.
And they're a little
Yes.
bit cheaper than Wrigley. Which
The
is
Sox do have very good food, and their stadium is very nice. But unfortunately, it's not in the best area. It's right on the Dan Ryan Expressway, which everyone knows is a total chaotic freaking.
Shout out, this was last year. Shout out to the yellow Mustang that rear-ended me. That was nice.
And also shout out, you know, fortunately I got off the Dan Ryan before because I was heading to New York because I lived in New York for a little bit. Only because I was stationed out there. I didn't adopt any of the New York teams. I still hate New York teams, but getting off the Dan Ryan Expressway, you know, right before I did 15 minutes, there was a massive shooting where it shut down everything. So that's why, you know, White Sox
They
don't
need
want to
to-
sell out there.
Definitely.
So, Joe.
Bad neighborhood and bad team.
So, Joe.
Real quick though,
Go ahead.
Brandon. I know
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna get.
No, go
I know
ahead.
what you're gonna get into about me with the Bears.
I'm very
Trust me,
excited
there's a
to talk
lot-
about the Bears.
There is a lot to cover with that.
There's a lot to
Real
talk
quick,
about the Bears.
I wanted to get your. We already know the Sox are 6-0.
Yeah.
Are they coming back from that?
Today.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Okay, good. What are the Cubs play the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, at
8:40.
Yeah, 8:40.
What is
20
your
minutes.
prediction for the score?
We have Justin Steele pitching today, so
Okay.
you know that's
Give a
an,
prediction.
you know that's an automatic quality start. So I think Justin Steele goes 6 innings, 2 earned.
See, I'm going to take a different
With
approach.
6 innings, 2 earned with 7 strikeouts. I think.
So what's
is
the
my-
final score?
I think the Cubs win 5-2 today.
5-2.
Yeah.
Good.
And I think Seiya Suzuki stays hot and carries the offense. That's my
Perfect.
prediction.
No, that's a good prediction. I agree. I hope that's what happens.
I'll respect that. You know what? I could be a troll right now since I'm
No,
playing.
say it.
I'm playing Justin Steele. See, I'm already Bears mode. Justin Steele in fantasy. So I don't like to hear that automatic quality start bullshit you're throwing out here.
Yeah, but you want to know what's funny? I have Justin Steele in fantasy, and I also have Seiya.
But you wanna know what's
Suzuki,
funny?
so.
Zach Gallen has gotten shelled recently. Spencer Steer has gotten shelled recently. Garrett Cole got shelled today
Spencer
as
Strider.
we speak.
Spencer Strider.
What did I say?
Spencer Steer.
Excuse me.
Spencer
Hey,
Strider.
you know what? The hacker store is talking. But no, it's crazy. A lot of didn't Blake Snell just get shelled or no? Or was it somebody else?
I don't think Blake Snell got shelled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm just talking shit because I'm playing him. But
You know, I think the race comes down to Snell or Justin Steele, honestly.
yeah.
No, he absolutely did not get shelled recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was somebody else.
Yeah,
Another
I'm-
star. I forgot who it
A
was,
bunch
bro.
of people. But yeah, the NL wildcard race is, you know, something to see. So make sure you keep following because we'll have updates on that, of course. But I think we all agree that we're going to move on to or into the Bears world, you know, the football world, right?
Yeah, let's.
I think it's time
Let's get it going.
I think it's time to unwrap that present and talk about that game we all unfortunately had to witness and watch. If you paid tickets to that game, I apologize, you know, for your sake, because that's terrible.
Yeah, I feel bad for anyone that had to like actually sit through. Like we watched it here, right here actually on Andrew's TV.
We did.
And it was quite unbelievable. I think we all know that we had high expectations for the Bears this year. This was the year that we thought that we finally were going to be better than the Packers. And obviously
Absolutely.
we weren't. I mean, they outplayed us. They came to play. They beat us at Soldier Field. They embarrassed us. And it's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, it really sucks as a Bears fan, because this is something that I've been, like I said before, I grew up in Wisconsin, went to grade school, high school there, then I moved back here, but I was born in Illinois. And, like, I can only imagine, like, what the Packers think all their fans and what they think right now. They think that we're a joke. They don't even consider us a rivalry anymore. I mean, it's sad to see that. And, I know in the 80s and early 90s, I mean, like, we whooped the Packers all the time. But, I mean, we can't go back in time to that.
Yeah.
Like Marty McFly, like my dad, trying to get back to 85. That'll never happen again. But I think that eventually it has to happen sometime that we'll be a competitive team. But, I mean,
so
hopefully sometime in our
This
era.
isn't a question for anyone here. I mean, this question, whoever wants to answer it,
Sure.
feel free to answer it. With the blowout on, or the first game of the season against the Packers, what do the Bears need to do against Tampa Bay to win? Because we all know we have Kansas City.
So I want to get. I'll get into that.
Yeah.
But I want to cover Week 1 first with the Bears and Packers.
Absolutely.
Trust me, because I have a bunch of information
Sure.
on that game.
Sure.
And we will get to that.
Sure, for sure.
So, dude, so I have a bunch of information on the Bears and Packers game. I'm gonna go over player stats, the coaches, play calls, the defense. And there's a lot to get into with this game. What are we at right now? We're at an hour exactly.
I think, yeah.
So it's probably going to be another 45 minutes.
Yeah,
until
I
we
think
finish this,
we
but which
definitely
is
went
fine.
overboard on the baseball talk.
No, that was good.
You know what?
That
It's our first podcast.
Yeah.
We're having extended version today.
So that's fine. You guys covered a lot of good stuff. Like if I was a baseball fan, I mean I am a baseball fan, but like if I was really paid attention to you guys covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was gold, what you guys said. So we have all that. You can play it back and listen, or if you just want to listen to the football side of things, you could forward it to an hour video. And
Absolutely.
I'll pin that in the comments, or I'll
put some
put it in
timestamps.
there. Yeah, I'll put some timestamps, whatever. So I don't want to get into the stats right away. What I'm going to get into right away is what some professional sports analysts, journalists, some professional athletes have said so far in the last 5 days.
Surely it can't be good, right?
No, none of it's good.
None of it's good.
I shouldn't say none of it's good. There is some good stuff. There is some stuff that they said about some positive players that look good.
Joe,
So
before
there's
you
some
jump
of that.
in, do you mind if I make 2 quick comments?
Sure, yeah.
And it's related to what you were talking about.
Yeah.
The sad truth, the sad reality of being a Bears fan is 2 things currently. The first thing is that since
We
2000,
could have had Patrick
no,
Mahomes.
listen.
I got arguments with people on Facebook.
Sorry, go ahead.
This is
Go
yeah,
ahead.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We could have had Deshaun Watson as well.
Yeah.
That in that draft
Lamar
class.
Jackson. I mean, how far do
Yes.
you want to go? I mean,
Yeah,
a
we
lot.
can go all day. I mean,
but
the Bears have never had a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback ever.
and we could have had potentially the greatest.
We never had a quarterback that is.
What I'm trying to say is
4,000
this,
yards.
on Joe's point here. Since 2003, the Bears and Packers record is 11 wins and 29 losses to the Packers.
Oh yeah, no, I have that too. I was going to bring that up.
But
That is roughly, if I'm doing quick math here,
Uh,
that's a little over. That's maybe a 0.35 percentage. That's awful.
But
and if I can go further, one moment, Andrew. If I can go further, what's more devastating than that, Joe? That right there tells us that this is no longer a rivalry. This is a decimation. And this is me speaking as a Bears fan. But even worse, for so many years, the Bears, and this is a fun stat. This is a stat that doesn't matter that much. But in NFL history, since 1920, the Chicago Bears for so many years held the most wins of all time in the NFL.
yeah.
It's just within the last couple of years, with how bad the Bears have been and with how good the Packers have been as of recent. You got the Favre era, you got the Rodgers era. The Packers are now the best, the most winningest team in NFL history, above the Bears by 5 games. It's devastating, man. It really is.
It's going to be hard to.
isn't that kind of crazy how the Bears only have 1 Super Bowl but they held the most winning record or whatever percentage for a very long time.
They were always very competitive, and even when Mike Ditka was the coach, they were very competitive, and they always made the playoffs. They were good. They were good.
To be fair, the Packers, the Bears, they are the oldest teams in the NFL as well, right?
Yeah.
So if you're it's like the Cincinnati Reds. They've sucked for so long.
Yeah.
They're still going to have, they're still up there in all-time wins. So it's all scaled, but it's just the Packers are getting the best of us, man, in the last couple decades.
But with all that being said, the Bears still have a chance to turn this whole ship around and play better than the Packers because.
And Joe's going to tell us how.
He will tell us how, but I also want to add something real quick. I don't know if I could also pull up the stat, but the season all-time record for the Bears and the Packers is I think it's one or two games.
What do you mean?
Head to head.
Like their total games.
Their total games played.
So they played a total. Well, I don't know their total, but they're.
Yeah.
So they've lost to the Packers 95 times. They're 95 wins, 106 losses, and 6 ties. That's their record against the Packers. 95
really?
wins, 106 losses.
It's still
ties.
close, but I thought it was closer.
Yeah.
But we don't even have that going for us anymore.
Yeah.
So, Joe, how about you tell the Bears and all of us, what do the Bears need to do to turn the ship around, just get 2 points and everything. What do we got to do to see winning football in Chicago?
So that's a good question, man, because there's a lot of problems right now that we see that's going on with the Bears. Their offense is not very good. Luke Getsy's play calling is questionable. And dude, I got all this stuff. I'm gonna get into it.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like that they're coaching the deep ball threat out of Fields, what he was known for doing. And he's looking down the field, doing checkdowns, and then throwing screen passes, like checkdown passes.
Yeah.
And he's not taking shots down the field at all. And I'm going to get into a lot of that stuff that he needs. That's what why Nagy drafted him. So I don't know if you guys know this or not. This is actually a really interesting fact about Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy is the reason why the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. So Matt Nagy went to Patrick Mahomes. He gave Patrick Mahomes the playbook. And he's like, dude, you are great. I know you're great, but you have to prove to Andy Reid that you're great. So here's our playbook. He's going to interview you. And
Andy Reid?
Yes.
The Red Rocket? Whoa.
Cheeseburger Reid?
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. I drew a blank.
Dalton.
Yes, excuse me.
No,
Okay.
not Andy Dalton.
Sorry. I drew a blank.
Not you, Andy.
So-
Cheeseburger Andy.
All right, so
Cheeseburger.
I'm more of a baseball fan than football fan,
So
obviously.
Wait, what did you say?
I thought he was talking about
Dalton
Andy
he was talking
Dalton
about.
for a second, because I know
Oh,
at
the
that
Red Rocket.
time
Oh, the
Andy
Red Rocket.
Dalton was the Bears quarterback.
So
was he not?
we're gonna cut this all out.
So
Anyways,
we're cutting all this out.
No, we're not.
So you guys won't even see any of this.
So Andy Reid, the Chiefs head coach, Matt Nagy's like to Patrick Mahomes, study this playbook. He's gonna interview you on some stuff. And I want you as our quarterback because Matt Nagy was a good scout. He just wasn't the greatest coach, obviously. But he was a good coach or a good scout. So he went to Patrick Mahomes, gave him the playbook. Andy Reid interviewed Patrick Mahomes, and he nailed the interview because he knew all the answers to the questions because Matt Nagy gave him the questions.
So this was pre-draft?
This was back in 2000 and 18? No, it would be 2018. Yeah. 2018 when they drafted.
I know
Trubisky.
some stuff. Okay.
Yeah. 2018 when they drafted Mitch Trubisky over Patrick Mahomes, probably the biggest upset in Bears history, or the biggest mistake, whatever you want to call it. It was a disastrous draft pick. Anyways, so Andy Reid's like, dude, we got to move up and get this guy. He's incredible. He knew all the answers because Matt Nagy gave him the answers. They drafted Patrick Mahomes. The rest is history. We know how great that the Chiefs were. We're like, hey man, we fire John Fox. We bring in.
John Fox was
John
Denver, I thought.
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
we bring him in, and we fired him, and then we bring in Matt Nagy, this offensive guru that obviously, I mean, wasn't an offensive guru. I mean, 2018 they had a good season, but they.
We all know how that ended.
Yeah, we all know.
But dude, I mean, you got to give the Bears credit though. I mean, look, the Bears are looking and saying, hey.
So he saw something. What I'm trying to get to is that he's the reason why they picked the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is the reason why that he was picked by the Chiefs was because of Matt Nagy. So he saw something in Justin Fields. Yeah. He went up and got Justin Fields.
You know, dude, I see a lot.
Which this is a stretch. Not a lot of people know about that.
No, I didn't even know that, dude. But yeah. I will say, like, I can genuinely say I see a lot of Justin Fields in Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
I mean, my nickname is Big Opinions Brandon. But
dude, we're going to get into all this stuff. I have a whole bunch of good stuff here that's going to break down all that stuff, and we're going to get into it.
For sure.
So some of the stuff. So one of the things I wanted to point out was what I've been listening to by professional sports analysts, journalists, and athletes.
Well, hold on, Joe. Let me ask you something.
Sure.
And we're gonna touch on that.
Yeah.
Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like him as our quarterback?
So the problem with Justin Fields.
Year 3.
Yeah, the first year, I mean, he only played half the season. Versus, I mean, a lot of people, and then he had to go into a new offense and learn a new offense year 1. So a lot of people don't even count the first year because he had to learn a new offense on year 2. I mean, you're still reading defenses, and you're still getting reps and doing that kind of stuff. So I don't really necessarily give him a pass on year 1, even though it was half the season. Year 2, I mean, the first I think it was 4 or 5 games, they were trying to make him a pocket passer, and obviously Fields wasn't. He's not a pocket passer, and Terry Bradshaw said today on 670 The Score that if you want to succeed in the NFL, you have to be able to be a pocket passer and a scrambler and, whatever. But mainly a pocket passer. You have to be able to be a pocket passer in the NFL today if you want to succeed. And that's coming from Terry Bradshaw, former.
I agree with you, Joe. I think to be a good player. Or a good quarterback, you have to be a good pocket passer. Yeah. We've seen that for as long as the NFL's been around. Yeah. I agree.
And Fields is not a pocket passer, so
I think he could be though.
To answer your question, I really don't. I don't see it in Fields. I don't think he's the answer, and I'm gonna get into that. Okay.
Let me say one thing, Joe.
Yeah.
And again, I'll let you move forward. The only thing I'll challenge you on is that, and again, this is an exhibition debate.
Sure.
I brought up to Joe. I said, we're looking at Fields, we're looking at Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes is the gold standard. So anything that you have, you're going to compare it to Mahomes. Right? You could do that. I think I do see a little bit of Justin Fields and Mahomes. I think that Justin Fields lacks the support, man. I think when you look at a guy like Mahomes, right? If we're going to talk about him for a second, Mahomes is a freaking beast. There's no question about it. But what environment did he walk into, dude? He walked into a receiving core. He walked into a absolute stud coach. I mean, that knows how to draft. He walked into a good environment, man. He walked into a team that already had Tyreek Hill, who is still. I mean, what did Tyreek Hill do in Week 1? Two touchdowns, 215 yards with Miami. Mm-hmm. What has Fields walked into, man? And last year, Fields had a good season.
Okay,
now not from the pocket, collapsed. Not from the pocket.
Okay, O-line still collapsed in game 1.
Our O-line sucks. So how can you expect the guy to be?
I don't think the Chiefs' offensive line is that great either, to be honest with you, man. I don't know if you watched the Lions game, but Patrick Mahomes is kind of running for his life on a lot of plays, and he probably got rid of that ball Tom Brady said that if you're holding onto the ball longer than 2.7 seconds, you're holding onto the ball way too long.
Yeah, okay.
He was definitely getting rid of the ball faster than that. Mahomes.
I think.
I agree.
Look. If I could say one thing here, I think we got to stop comparing people to Patrick Mahomes. Right?
You can't, man.
Patrick Mahomes is a freak of nature. I think Patrick Mahomes has a real shot at overtaking Brady one day
not only,
for his GOAT status. Quite frankly, I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying that Mahomes is gold standard.
Justin Fields is Justin Fields. Patrick Mahomes is obviously one of the greats.
Mahomes was put into a system to succeed, and Fields wasn't.
Exactly.
But the whole point I'm trying to make is you can't expect everyone to be like Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes could do that and not have an O-line because he's that good.
That's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Dude, Jalen Hurts is just as good as Mahomes, if not better, right now.
Jalen Hurts is a stud.
Maybe not when you look at a whole career.
Yeah, but
resume,
Jalen Hurts has the most complete team in football.
Dude, you could say that about. But here's my argument.
Yeah.
Here's my argument.
No
Listen, dude.
Man.
Here's my argument. I agree with you guys. Here's my argument. What you just said backs up my point. Mahomes has had the most complete team.
Yeah.
Also for the last couple of years, and he's also been as good as Mahomes is. He's been a product of how good his team is.
I mean, he had Kelsey and Tyreek Hill.
And a stud defense. They had the
imagine having
he didn't have him in the Lions game, though, and he still looked good. So
I mean, ridiculous. I mean, he had the weapons, for sure. He had the coaching, like you were saying.
I think like Mahomes is one of those guys that if you put him on any team, he will be good. Like, I really think that.
I just don't think. I think Justin Fields has really broken the hearts of Bears fans.
Right? Yeah. No.
You know, that interception last week was atrocious.
Yes.
And the fumble.
Totally.
Everything, man.
Anyways, but I think that you're right about the aspect that if you put Fields in a system that was successful, like good coaching, good offensive line, good receivers, he probably would look good. But I disagree with you on that. Mahomes, if you put him into a bad system, I really think Mahomes would still look good. Maybe not as good because Andy Reid is a really good coach, but I really do think Mahomes is that good where it doesn't matter. And an example of that is Deshaun Watson. I mean, he had DeAndre Hopkins on the Texans, but man, he had no offensive line, he had no defense,
J.J. Watt.
Yeah, but J.J. Watt in his 30s. Anyway, not J.J. Watt prime, really.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe towards the end of his prime.
I get you, and it's
always and he still looked good. He made nothing, and he still looked good with a bad play calling, all that stuff, and he still looked better than what Fields I think looked like. Definitely Trubisky. So, but no, that's how I feel. I mean, I feel like that Fields is it's.
You know
I really
what?
just don't think it's.
I agree with you, Joe. I think what you might be trying to say, and what I agree with, is that say what you want. Fields has an unproven arm. If you want to be a good quarterback in this league, you got to be able to throw the damn ball, and Fields can't. You know, he's shown some signs. Now he has the receipt. He still doesn't have the O-line.
Okay, so let me get
imagine if Justin Fields, imagine the O-line figures it out. Imagine if Justin Fields learns to throw the ball appropriately. How scary he'd be with his running capabilities as well as like being able to throw.
Yeah, but it's year 3.
That'd be pretty.
I mean, how long are we gonna wait? Question.
But that's 3 years of a shitty
O-line. But that's 3 years of like a miserable team.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
I know. I agree. I think if he started with the Eagles, he probably would have looked a lot better.
And let's not forget that how long you guys would know this. When did we hire Matt Eberflus? It was last year, right?
Yeah.
So that was his first year. So not only is he going through new coaches, he's going through a new scheme, a lot of turnover, a brand new team where he has to build that relationship with them.
Yeah,
so I think
why do they look worse than what they did with Nagy? And last year,
it's one game. Let's not hit the panic button yet. I mean,
Dude,
we got the Chiefs game 3, so that's not good.
We'll get into this Bucks game. We'll get into the Chiefs game later. But I'm telling you right now, if they lose the Bucks game, it's game over. Like they're gonna have to start a new regime. This is game over. This regime didn't work. I'm telling you right now.
Well, they're not gonna change their regime
not right away, but they will.
Not that quick.
Luckily for the Bears. The only saving grace, and I'm not an optimistic Sox fan, I'll try to be an optimistic Bears fan. We don't have the best division, dude. look at the Vikings. They're 0-2 now, I believe. They just got smacked by the Eagles. The Lions are supposed to be good, but you never know. I'm not buying.
I mean,
the
the
Packers
Lions should have lost game 1.
Hold on, the Packers whooped us, but we don't know what the Packers are gonna do. So you never know, man. We can start 0-3 and see what happens, but
I'm gonna get into some of this stuff.
Yep.
The Lions last year went 0-8.
Joe, while you talk about that, I will be right back. You guys need a beer.
I'm okay right now. I still like drinking this one. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, Joe, and I'll catch up.
I mean, we kind of talked on Terry Bradshaw a little bit.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, Hall of Famer, probably one of the top. Probably, I mean, I don't know if you consider top 10 now, but at the time he was very good.
Very decorated.
So this is what he said today on 670 The Score while I was working out. Actually, listen to it. He said that he doesn't see it in Fields, and he thinks that the coaches might have beat him over the head to do too many checkdowns. So if you don't see a receiver open down the field, you go right away down to the next, you're doing your checks. And then, hey, there's my screen, check down. And Terry Bradshaw thinks that they beat him over the head to stop doing the deep ball pass. They basically beat it out of him, which is what kind of why Matt Nagy hired Fields, because he was a good deep ball passer. So just something to think about.
Where do the thank you, Bob. Where do the Green Bay
No
Packers
problem,
fall under defensive rankings?
So the Packers they have a bunch of for like the last 5 years the Packers have taken first round defensive picks.
So you're saying they have a really good defense?
I mean, that's why they say that there was so much pressure on Fields and why their offensive line had no chance. But I honestly think they're pretty mediocre. I mean, that's just coming from me. But we don't know enough yet about their defense because it's too early in the season. Last year they were not that great last year. So this year, I mean, had some injuries, some guys out. So I don't know. We don't know enough about it this year to really judge on how great their defense is going to be. I mean, I know it looked really good against the Bears, but I mean, I don't know how it would look against an elite offense. I mean, or an elite, offensive line.
No, definitely.
So, on 670 The Score, some of the hosts, like I was saying, they think that they coached the deep ball threat out of Fields, which, I mean, we talked about Terry Bradshaw saying that the coaches could have definitely beat him over the head. And that's what Fields was known for. Like I was saying to Brandon, Andrew, that's why Matt Nagy liked Fields, because he was a big-time deep ball threat, one of the things he saw in Fields.
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson. Not really a crazy fan of Eddie Jackson. He's an actual defensive back for the Bears. He said going in on Monday in the locker room was the quietest it's ever been, and he's been playing for the Bears for 7 years. And he said it's never been that quiet before after that loss to the Packers.
Well, that's good.
That means people actually care.
Yeah, exactly. That means people actually care.
So going back to...
Because they better not be happy and excited after that performance.
So going back to something Lance Briggs said, Lance Briggs is not... I don't think he's a fan of Eddie Jackson. I don't know if you guys know who Lance Briggs was, but he was the Bears linebacker back in the 2006
He was the right-hand man of Brian Urlacher.
Yeah, basically he... If it wasn't for how good Brian Urlacher was,
Lance Briggs was
that guy, yeah. So, Lance Briggs had to say that Eddie Jackson not tackling well and not being aggressive enough. I mean, he said this last year, that Eddie Jackson needs to learn how to tackle. I mean, I didn't think Eddie Jackson played that bad, but, I mean, this is coming from Lance Briggs. So, I mean, Lance Briggs, I think he probably knows what he's talking about. So, this is what Lance Briggs graded the entire Bears defense, offense, etc. He graded their defense an F. He graded their offense an F. He graded their special teams a D-. He graded the coaching an F. So
that play calling was pretty terrible.
It was disgusting. Harrison Graham on Chat Sports. So he mentioned today that there is some internal drama going on at Hallis Hall. kind of talked to you about it earlier today, and I think, yeah, man, I mean, I guess they had a meeting, the McCaskies, with Ryan Poles and Ryan Pace, and they're not happy with the way things are going. Obviously, they hired the guys. I know Faz on Faz Sports said that, he kind of didn't really agree with the McCaskies being mad, that it should be more of a fan thing. I kind of disagree with Faz, even though I think Faz is probably one of the greatest sports analysts on YouTube besides Harrison Graham.
Shout out to Harrison Graham.
Shout out to Harrison Graham. Anyways,
and Harrison Ford.
Anyways, I disagree though with Faz on this, because I think that if you are an owner, you're the boss of Ryan Poles, obviously, and if you're not happy with the results as an owner or a boss, you're not going to be okay with things. You're going to have a meeting and tell them that you're upset with the way things are going. So I think that was I think that the McCaskies did what was right. They were upset. They're not happy with the results. So they're the boss. They went and talked to the people underneath them.
Don't you think the McCaskies themselves are kind of a big part of the issue, though?
You know, a lot of people say that. George McCaskey came out and said that he doesn't know, he's not a professional sports, player, doesn't know, wouldn't know how to call plays, doesn't know, managing. He's just a fan.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes,
there's
right.
nothing wrong with that.
So,
as long as he provides the funds and and gets the right guys in office, as an owner, you don't got to really worry about that stuff. You just
So I don't right? I said, I think that
it'll help out.
I think the McCaskies have every right to be upset with the way things went.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they are, to be honest.
There's a reason why you hire Ryan Poles. You hire Ryan Poles to construct the entire team, this scheme of everything.
Right.
Yeah. So I think Ryan Poles has done a pretty good job as of so far. It's not, the Bears are
I think
the Bears are the Bears, but I think
it's not Ryan Poles to coach the players. That's the coach's job. So I think
Ryan Poles did a good job with he created a lot of optimism in this city, by going out and drafting O-line and finally addressing finally addressing our O-line issues, is in itself huge. So hats off to Ryan Poles. Hopefully,
so this is another thing that Harrison Graham said that I think is very interesting. Luke Getsy, for the reason why that they weren't scoring enough and doing good, Luke Getsy blamed the special teams for not getting to the 30-yard line on punt returns and kick returns. He said that it's a known fact, I get it, that if you get up to the 25, 30-yard line, your chances of scoring a touchdown or scoring points is significantly higher than scoring it less than that. Mm-hmm. And Luke Getsy literally said that, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said something along the lines that, when you don't get up to the 30-yard line and we have to punt it back to the other team, he says it's hard to score. He said something along those lines. Yeah. So to me, and to Harrison Graham, he's a professional sports analyst, he said that he thinks that Luke Getsy was trying to blame the special teams why they didn't score. Yeah. Okay, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyways, Colin Cowherd.
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, I know.
That guy's something else.
So he said this about Fields, that he has the ability to be great, but has the wrong coaches around him. He believes Fields is a better athlete than Jordan Love, but Love has better coaches.
Jordan Love also had Rodgers for 3 years.
Yeah, right. Which is kind of like a coach. If you think about it, as a coach, he's a mentor.
Which
I totally agree with that. The Bears have never had
one of the greatest quarterbacks minds of all time for 3 seasons. That's pretty important.
Yeah. So to bring up your point with how you thought. So I think Fields was kind of like a Mahomes at first. You know how you said that you said that he had, was kind of like a Mahomes a little bit.
Yeah.
And some people did compare him to that. I remember people comparing Fields to Mahomes. So, in 2021, Justin Fields had an aggressive throw rate of 17%, which is a lot, I guess. That means he's riskier at throwing, he's more aggressive.
Aggressive meaning 20-plus yards down the field?
It just, I don't know how they calculate it, but it means that they take riskier throws, they throw the ball a lot more often than running.
Okay.
In 2022, it dropped down, which 17% they say is high for usually anyone. So he was a rookie too. So I mean, it kind of makes sense. 2022, it dropped down to 9.1%. So that's a pretty big difference. So I'm starting to think that maybe coaches are starting to slowly coach this deep ball threat, the passing aggressiveness out of field. This is 2022 is 9.1%. In 2023, the current year, it's at 2.7%. So it went from 9.1 to 2.7%. This is the whole point of me bringing it back to that they're trying to coach the deep ball threat, what Fields is known for, out of Fields, doing the checkdowns. It all starting to come together and starting to make sense.
So, Joe, do you mind if I have a couple minutes here?
Yeah, man, go for it.
There's a lot to digest. I feel like it's very complex, honestly, in my opinion. I think with the Bears, it's really hard to say who's to blame. You know, I hate to say it. I still have faith in Fields, man. I've seen some bad stuff out of the kid, but we've also seen some good stuff. But I just want to make a point. I think like it all boils down to the O-line. The O-line is most people don't know the names of offensive linemen. We never have. They're the quiet superheroes in the NFL that no one knows about. But it's crazy because they really do determine or dictate the success of a team. You have a good O-line, you're gonna have a good running back. Your quarterback's gonna have more time in the pocket to throw the ball. Your receivers are gonna have more time to get open. It's just down the line, straight up.
On paper, our O-line this year. I mean, I know Tevin Jenkins is on IR, but on paper, our O-line should be very good. On paper, and they are not performing.
I agree, but I think the only thing that I was gonna say, Joe, was that one game, but even more so than that, man. I mean, it matters. When a lot of the guys that we have, first of all, as good as Wright is, he's a rookie. I get it. He shut down Will Anderson Jr. SEC.
I got some good stuff on Wright too.
Of course, I'm looking forward to that. He's a rookie, man. That's the bottom line. I don't care how good you are. Now you're in the NFL. It's the next level. A lot of our O-linemen are free agents that we signed, which means maybe they don't have the chemistry. And even when you take those two things into consideration, you have to consider how many fucking injuries we've dealt with already in the preseason. So not only do we have rookies on our O-line, not only do we have free agents on our O-line that are coming into a new offense, a new scheme, but half of them are injured. So as you said, and I know Joe off screen, we talked about this on Sunday, half of them have had to play a different O-line position than what they were. You know, you got right guards moving to left guards, or right tackles moving to right guards, and centers moving to left guard. Yeah. That makes a difference, man. And you know, as NFL fans, like, you know, we probably don't realize how much of an impact that plays on a game, right? Moving from one position to the next. You would think, okay, at the end of the day, you're a lineman, right? When you're playing at such a high caliber level, I'm sure it freaking matters from, you know, one position to the next. So the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that I have a lot of faith in Justin Fields. I have a lot of faith in our receivers. I just feel like our offensive line is the offensive line in general is so important that it's really the main issue. That's my point. I think the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go, Joe, is again the offensive line determine, like, if you have a good offensive line, you run the ball better. If you run the ball better, you throw better.
Right. Which we ran the ball actually pretty good. So, I mean,
did we? What did Mac do in week 1? Like, what did Mac do?
Here.
I just want to throw this out there, off topic, that Justin Steele gave up a 3-run homer in the first inning. So,
that's great.
Are you fucking serious?
My prediction's in the trash can already, by the way.
This is a Chicago Fort. You know what? Never mind, guys. You know what? This is Chicago Group Sports. I'm very, very upset that Steele did that.
Are you saying Herbert? What did Herbert do as a running back?
Khalil, yeah. Or no, Khalil Mack. No, Khalil Herbert, excuse me.
Khalil Mack's that line.
Khalil Mack.
We traded. Yeah.
What? Gurriel hit the three-run homer. And I
So
have no fantasy.
I'll tell you the stats right now for Khalil Herbert.
You guys.
What did he do in week 1? And what did Fields do?
Right, I'll get to that. 9 rushing attempts, 27 yards, 3 yards per carry he averaged.
Who?
Khalil Herbert.
That's horrible.
What?
Well, hang on, that's just his rushing. He was targeted 5 times, had 3 receptions for 37 yards. I mean, dude, so you got to look.
It's a horrible run game.
It's not right. It's not the greatest, but they're splitting up the run between 3 running backs.
What was
right
what
now.
was Herbert's stats again?
So he had 9 rushing attempts for 27 yards. Yeah, dude, that is bad. I get that. So
That's awful.
So I get that, but he was also targeted 5 times, had 3 receptions for 37 yards. So, I mean, it's not terrible, but yeah, it's not the greatest. But you have to realize they have a 3-headed monster, so they're trying to break up the run game between 3 guys. So since we're talking about running backs, I guess I'll just finish it. Deontay Foreman, former Panther that we signed this year. Which I think this is pretty interesting. After McCaffrey left, he rushed for 914 yards in 11 games, which is solid.
Okay.
To make up, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty damn good.
What did Foreman do on Sunday?
Sure. He had 5 rushing attempts for 16 yards, which is not very good, and he averaged 3 yards per carry. He had 3 pass attempts for 2 receptions and 8 yards.
So
Foreman's our
let
second
me
string
say this.
guy.
So we had no run game, bro.
Okay,
So what
I'm
happens
thinking
is
of Roshan Johnson.
when we don't have
He
a
had
run
a lot
game.
more runs than all these guys put together.
So what did he do?
Well, maybe not put together, but
Hey, Bob.
Roshan Johnson, so he was drafted in the 4th round out of Texas. He had 5 rushing attempts for 20 yards. He averaged 4 yards per carry, and he had a touchdown. Not the greatest.
Not good enough.
So he was targeted 7 times for 6 receptions, had 35 yards. But I mean, I get that the running wasn't good, but the stuff that Roshan did, like
So the O-line, we didn't have good passing. We didn't have good pass block, or rushing block.
no.
So
I agree.
you have to give Fields some credit that he's not getting the protection he deserves. That's the only argument I'm making. As long as the Bears have a horrible O-line, it's going to be hard to really evaluate Fields, in my opinion.
No, dude, I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but I'll get into the offensive line here in a sec. I want to finish up what the rest of these sports analysts
Hey, Brandon.
say.
Nice hat, man. Who's on the back of your hat? Hawks?
Chicago, what? Nope. It's actually the New York Islanders.
Oh, why?
You know what? As a Chicago sports fan, I couldn't even name one player on the New York Islanders. However, it's a nice hat. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments, eh?
Leave it in the comments below. All right, anyways.
I got the hat at a military appreciation night in New York at the Coliseum.
So
You guys having a good time?
I'm not actually an Islander fan. He's not either. It's just a hat.
So when Justin Fields was asked why he was so conservative with the ball in the press conference, this is what he had to say. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not confident, it seems like, in himself, and it looked like he was defeated. So on all 22...
After a performance like that, of course you're going to be defeated.
I get that, but you want to have good positive energy.
There's no positivity at
I
the end of that
dude,
game.
I totally agree.
I actually respect the fact that he came out and said, like, dude, this sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know?
and
wanna be a
that's
leader,
good growing
and
pains for a young team, though.
It
You
is.
know, like
Yeah, but
like
how
they
long
understand.
have they had growing pains for now, man? It seems like it's
Yeah,
been a
but this
while.
is like the first real season of like they're putting it together. You know.
Their last season wasn't, though?
Well,
3 wins.
I'm saying like
I know
this
what
is
you
the real
mean, yeah.
season of like hype. So like
To be
last
fair,
season,
though-
wait, last season there was no expectation, right? But this season there is expectation.
Yeah, huge.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let me
so
make a
it's
comment.
nice. It's good that the players are learning how it feels to lose, right?
I agree, but no, the only thing I'll say is that, Joe, you make a comment and you say they only won 3 games. How many games last year did the Bears lose by 1 possession? It was like
It was
the
like
opposite of the Vikings.
it was like
You know,
every single game.
It was
It's
the
good that you
opposite
bring
of
that up.
the
Yeah.
Vikings. The Vikings won, I
Okay.
think, a record-breaking amount of wins by one possession. The Bears were the opposite, dude.
Okay, but they did have, including yesterday's game, they did have 7 games, not the last 7 games, but 7 games since Eberflus has been the coach that they lost with scores of 16 points or more.
Oof.
Yeah. So yeah, they did have some games where it was won, but they
Yeah.
also had games where it was 16 points or more loss. So no, oh yeah, and not to bring up that no other NFL team has a losing streak like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so get back to where I was at. So all 22 breakdowns, which is like, 22 players on the field. There was 3 guys that I really like: the QB School, Swiss Sports Network, and Tim Jenkins. I don't know if you guys know them. They're really good at breaking down all 22s. So this is what some of the stuff that was concerning that they had to say. A lot of questionable play calling by Luke Hotseat. Fields getting rid of the ball not fast enough. So that brings back to your point that the offensive line isn't holding up. They broke it down. They said the offensive line was holding it long enough to where he should have been getting rid of it quick enough, and he wasn't. Quote by Jim McMahon that I believe he said last year: "Chicago is where QBs go to die," which I think he might not be too wrong
Well, I think
about that.
he's so far pretty correct about that, considering we're the only team in
Justin
NFL.
Fields
We're
feels
one of the
different, though,
oldest
man.
teams, but
Yeah.
one of
And
the
I
only
know-
teams that doesn't have a 4,000-yard pass.
I know
So-
a lot of our viewers, however many people that is, right on our first podcast, but I think doesn't Justin Fields feel like the first guy that could be him?
Dude, when we drafted him, that was-
Exactly.
When we drafted him in
Exactly.
2018,
100% he does.
that was one of the most exciting moments in Chicago, drafting Justin Fields, because we literally thought he was our savior.
Absolutely.
And
But
obviously,
I'm not talking about what he's done in college. I'm talking about what I've seen him do in the NFL. I was at the Dolphins game last year when he ran for 70 yards, and we lost that game by 3 points, as I was saying to Joe earlier. But Justin Fields is the first quarterback in my lifetime that I've ever looked at and said, he could be him one day.
Yeah.
But without an O-line, dude, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Without the right play calling. But again, the play calling is affected by the O-line. Because how do you expect Eberflus to write up a play and say, hey, throw a,
it's not Eberflus. He's
or the offensive line, Getsy.
Yes.
But Getsy, how do you expect him to draw up the play on the whiteboard and say, hey, let's do, what's it called? You just playing Madden when they all run deep.
A Hail Mary.
Slants, Hail Marys.
Not Hail Mary, bro.
Slants.
There's another name for it.
Where they all run deep.
Oh shit, I forget. I wish. Shout out to Richie, man. I wish Richie was here. He would know, our buddy.
A screen.
Not a screen. Well, that's all
That's
we're running
opposite.
these days is
Yeah,
screens
yeah.
because we got to get the ball out. But anyways, what I was gonna say, Joe, I'll let you go. Is Fields has to throw the ball right away. He's got no protection, man.
Yeah.
Puts a lot of pressure on the young kid. I mean, it's year 3, but
Yeah. No, we'll get into some
Yeah.
of that.
Yep.
So I want to go really quick through the offense. And I'm going to go really quick through the defense because we're already at an hour and 42 minutes. So wide receivers.
So real
I'm gonna
quick, guys, just to break the fourth wall, how long are we gonna go? Are we gonna wrap it in 20 or what?
I kind of want to do an hour, but if it goes past that, that's fine.
What do you mean, an hour?
One more hour.
No, like an hour total.
So
But maybe it might have
So
to be an hour
moving
and a half.
forward an hour, but
No, I'm
he
saying
was
on this
asking
specific
tonight.
Yeah. Today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
2 hours, cut it.
Yeah, probably.
All right, guys, you got 20 more minutes of
Yeah.
us.
So
20 minutes of prime time Bears.
So I'm just gonna rip through this stuff.
So saddle in, put the seatbelt on. Shit's about to get real.
Hey,
okay.
you're gonna want to reload, recalibrate, re-engage.
Shout out to Jocko Willing. We would love you on this
Hey,
show
my
regardless.
captain
Even
really
though
appreciate
you're
that.
not sports related, we'd still have you on.
My
buddy.
captain really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Anyways, he's a big Jocko fan.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to start with the offense, go through some of the wide receivers really quick and their stats and their performance. Chase Claypool, 6'4", 230 pounds. So this past week, after week 1,
What a disaster that was.
yeah, he declined to speak with the members of the
Disaster.
media Wednesday at Hallis Hall. Big surprise.
Of course, because he's embarrassed.
Performance. So missing a block on a screenplay that was thrown to Darnell Mooney. I don't know if you guys saw this, but on the all 22,
He actually was under fire for him not hustling and trying, right?
Not even trying.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
defender that was 5'9", probably weighed
Someone who
180 pounds.
Someone who he could body, because
Yes.
Chris Claypool is a big guy, as we all know.
and literally just knocked Claypool into Darnell Mooney and for a loss of yards.
Yeah, that's
It
so
was-
far that trade is looking terrible.
Yeah,
We
it-
could have used that second round.
It's looking like a bust for
Yeah.
Ryan Poles. So missing a block on that, lack of effort. I mean, in all 22 that the guys that I mentioned broke down, not Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, lack of effort and horrible blocking is seen in almost every one of the plays he's in. It's really sad looking.
Okay, so wait, and there's one question to be had on this. Whose fault is that? Is that Matt Eberflus's fault for not holding the players accountable? Like, why is he allowing Chris Claypool to?
That's a
He's
great.
not.
It's
He's
a
not
great
allowed.
question.
Or okay, yeah, but
He's
So-
not
okay,
allowing that. There's literally. I got
okay,
an
wait,
update.
okay, excuse me. What about Justin Fields? Should Justin Fields, like the leader of the team, should he not be the one to step and be like, "Hey, dude, what the fuck are you
I
doing?"
agree. I think he should. I don't know if he
Because
has or
obviously
not.
Justin Fields sees
So
what
a lot
Chris
of that
Claypool
stuff
is
is
doing.
definitely we don't hear about, but I would
Is
not be
that-
surprised if Justin Fields went up and said like, "Hey man, you better start."
I
putting
mean,
some
because
effort
Justin
into it."
Fields
I
is
agree,
the
we would
leader
know
of this
that.
team.
But some things are internal.
But this
man.
is what I can tell you, Andrew, is that rumors have it that Chase Claypool is upset that he's not getting the ball enough. So that might be the reason why he is having lack of effort.
Claypool had, I believe Claypool had 0 targets last week and obviously 0 receptions as a result.
So,
Well, the same thing happened with Odell Beckham Jr. and
Let me
Cleveland.
confirm that.
Odell Beckham Jr. in Cleveland, same story with
Right.
what was going on. Baker
So-
Mayfield wasn't passing OBJ.
yeah, no, it's
Created a lot of
bullshit that they
issues.
do that. And
Yeah.
considering that right now Chase Claypool's contract, including last year's $3.6 million, and that the Bears gave up a 2023 second
Yep.
round, which turned into a first round number 32 overall.
Oh my Lord.
By the way, I just want to correct myself. Chase Claypool had 2 targets on Sunday for 0 receptions, 0 yards. So
Yep. Good job. And the wide receiver coach said that they're working on getting Claypool better at blocking and getting open. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Doesn't really, I don't know if I believe that. I think that's
Okay,
why-
wait. Question real quick,
Yeah.
Joe and Brandon, Bob. Whatever you want to go by these days, okay? You really
hold on a minute.
threw a curveball with the whole Bob.
do you guys
situation.
remember what Bob
Right.
stands for?
Big opinionated person.
Bigot.
What the fuck?
Hey, you know Bob.
Oh,
spelled
something like
backwards-
that, dude,
You know
right?
Bob spelled backwards.
Dude.
Is Bob.
Bob.
Big,
Not Bop.
big opinionated Brandon. Oh,
Thank you.
excuse me. All right, well,
Thank
I'm
you.
getting off track
All
here.
right, here I want to.
No, Brandon or Joe. One last question. Do you think the game between the Bears and Packers, how embarrassing it was for the entire organization, top to bottom, including the city?
Yeah, on a
Do
scale.
you think that that's going to light a fire under the Bears' ass going into week 2?
I think.
I mean,
that
we got Baker Mayfield.
Do you think
We
that
could beat him, dude.
Do you think Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears are going to be very motivated to win this game and show out after a performance that bad in week 1? It's a yes or no question.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. I know it's
No?
a yes or no question, but I really don't think it's going to. I mean,
What's your answer?
I
Mark?
You're
Right.
asking what is the question?
I think it should. I think it
Yeah.
should light a fire under their ass, but will it? I don't know.
Yes. What Joe just said.
So you asked if losing to the Packers the way we did will light a fire under the Bears' ass.
Yes.
As a result, win.
Yes. Do you think that will come into play in week 2 or no?
It's hard to say. I think that not much is going to change, man. I think at the end of the day,
Really? So both of you had the same opinion.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
okay.
can genuinely say I don't think much is going to change because nothing with the O line is changing.
Yeah.
The only thing that's changing is maybe they have 1 week of experience together. That's not enough time, dude.
Very
So,
well, I'm
Joe.
going to be the outsider and say that it will light a fire underneath the Bears' ass and we'll come out and stomp Tampa Bay. That's my opinion. Stay tuned to next week to see who.
Joe, I have a question for you.
Yeah. Yep.
I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fun idea that I want to end the podcast with.
Sure.
And I'll kind of mediate it, and I'll let you guys do all the actual talking. How much do you have left? Do you want to wrap it up? And then I kind of do what I got to do? What do you got left here?
Yeah, I just want to, let me just go through all this stuff real quick.
Yeah.
We'll not like say anything at the end, then we'll do that.
Okay.
So, right now.
I promise you guys, it'll
I
be
wanna
fun.
finish
You
the
guys will
wide
like it.
receivers. I'm sure we will. DJ Moore targeted twice for 25 yards. He had 2 receptions, back-to-back receptions, and then they pulled him out of the game. Matt Eberflus had a press conference, was asked why they did that, and I will give you his answer here. He said something along the lines like he didn't know, maybe he was tired, which I think is ridiculous for an answer. Yeah, that's what. I swear.
What the?
Yeah, that's what he said. Anyways, Darnell Mooney.
Wait, you said DJ Moore?
Yeah, he was only targeted twice and back-to-back receptions for 25 yards.
And then they pulled him.
Then they pulled him out.
What quarter was that in? The third?
I don't know, to be honest, man. I honestly don't know. Darnell Mooney.
That's terrible to hear from the guy that we just traded for.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That's all the times they target him. Darnell Mooney, 4 receptions, 53 yards, 1 touchdown, targeted 7 times. So I just want to say this, that at the end, that Justin Jefferson has more receiving yards than any other Bears receiver in the history of the Bears. And he's only been in the NFL for 3 years. Tight ends, Cole Kmet, 7 targets, 5 receptions for 44 yards, 1 questionable rushing attempt for 0 yards on 4th down and inches on the Packers' 30-yard line that the Packers got the ball back on. Robert Tonyan, former Packer, 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards, 1 missed block for a loss of yards. Mercedes Lewis, former Packer, 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Running backs, we kind of already went over running backs, so I'm going to skip through that. So I do want to say that Roschon Johnson, his effort in as a running back looked very good. And this is actually mentioned to you on the All-22 by, I think it was Tim Jenkins, mentioned that after like Justin Field threw that interception, Roschon Johnson went up and like threw his body into him, fell down, didn't get the guy down, and chased the guy all the way down to the end zone for like 20, 30 yards and tried tackling him in the end zone. That's the kind of stuff you want to see. Yeah. Roschon Johnson is going to be our next starting running back by either this week or the following week. He's going to start over Khalil Herbert. Offensive line, offensive line.
Oh, hot take Joey over here.
Offensive line to get back into the offensive line to break things down. Nate Davis, this guy I am not a fan of. I think he didn't show up for any practices, didn't show up for OTAs. He just showed up for day 1 to practice, and it shows by his performance. He's a right guard, played right guard at Tennessee. He allowed 9 pressures. He had a passer block grade of 7.2. So to get into how the passing block grade works, each player is given a grade of -2 to +2 in 0.5 increments on a given play, with 0 generally being the average or expected grade. And his grade was 7.2. He signed a 3-year contract at $30 million, $19.2 million guaranteed. Nate Davis, I mean, he looked pretty good for Tennessee, but obvious, to get back to your point, how we don't have any offensive lines, on paper, this guy should be good, but he's not. Darnell Wright, right tackle, drafted number 10 overall. We traded back in the draft, got a 4th round pick for it.
He went 10?
Number 10 overall. He allowed 5 pressures. He's a rookie. So
he didn't have a great outing.
Yeah, we're not going to beat this guy up
a lot. He's a rookie.
But hang on. Olin Kreutz, former center for the early 2000 Bears era, Hall of Famer probably, Olin Kreutz, said this about Darnell Wright, that he was impressed by his aggressiveness, and he really liked the way Darnell Wright looked. So that says a lot by Olin Kreutz. I mean, he usually
and the guy's a unit, man.
Yeah, he doesn't say a lot of nice things about people. He tells it how it is. So if he's saying that he liked what he saw in Darnell Wright, that says a lot. Former center for the Bears. Lucas Patrick, the backup center, because they had to move Cody Whitehair over to left guard. He allowed 5 pressures. Not very good. Cody Whitehair was center, but they moved him over to left guard. And for Jenkins, who's out, which I think was a huge mistake. I think that's another bust made by Ryan Poles. All the injuries, tons of injuries. You could look them all up. Cody Whitehair is also 31 years old, so he's getting up there in age. He allowed 5 pressures, 1 sack, and 1 hit. Braxton Jones, left tackle, actually pretty good. We drafted him last year. He allowed 1 pressure, so good job for Braxton Jones. QB Justin Fields, breaking down some of his stats here. 37 passing attempts, 24 completions, 206 passing yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. 64.9% completion rate.
What was his quarterback rating?
Good
You have
question.
that?
123.2 passer rating.
No
Passer
shit.
rating 123.2.
So no. Sorry,
158 is perfect.
78.2.
That makes more sense.
Oh, I was gonna say 158 is perfect.
So
no,
let me
he
get
had
in.
128.
Let me.
I know, but I'm saying
Let me get into
158
what
is
I-
perfect.
so I looked
I'm
at
like
the-
120 would have been pretty fucking good.
One,
That-
one,
no, I was like,
100.
holy
Yeah.
shit.
So let me.
I was like,
Sorry,
no
I
way.
messed up. That was
Oh.
Jordan Love's.
Oh,
Okay.
So I looked at the end. Let me get into this. So 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception, 64.9% completion rate. A lot of this was in garbage time. I mean, he actually looked. It looks kind of solid on paper, but it was in garbage time, a lot of it. So
It's against the
whatever.
Bears.
You know,
so it
24
doesn't
for
count.
37 with that O-line ain't that bad.
No.
For Justin Fields.
When
So-
you listen, when you have 0 run game established, like think about it. If you're the Packers and the Bears can't get anything going, and this is just in general in the NFL, if you are a defense and your opponent can't get any run game going, you are going to stiffen up on your passing defense,
Yeah.
and you're going to make sure that you stop that quarterback from producing.
Yeah, he was 24 for 37, but how many of those were screens and dumps?
I
Right.
agree.
You know.
I
So
agree.
he only threw 4 passes over 10 yards.
But
Exactly.
what do you
So,
expect him to? What do you expect him to do when he doesn't have a run game
I know, but still.
or an O line?
And they only
What
call-
do you
and
expect
they
him
only
to
call-
Anybody
do,
could
man?
dump a freaking
And they only
pass
called
off, though.
1 run play.
Right.
They only called 1 run
I
play.
get
to
it. He
Justin
doesn't have an
Fields.
O-line. I 100% get it. The Bears have never had an O-line. But anyone could really dump.
So Justin
Pass
Fields had
or
9
run
rushing
a screen.
attempts, 59
I'm pretty
Yeah,
confident
no,
that,
yes,
that,
yeah.
that you
No,
will
He
of
averaged
course.
right.
6.5 yards per
I agree.
carry and 1 fumble.
So we're going to need to see more from Justin Fields.
You know what,
in
I
this
just
too.
think-
And more importantly
So
from the
100,
O-line.
100 is considered.
I think it's a
very
really
good for a
difficult
passer
week.
rating.
I think it's a tough week to talk about the Bears. I think and we can all agree on this, they were bad in every way. There was not one good thing
Oh, it
that
was
came out of that
embarrassing.
game.
Embarrassing.
So hopefully, when we come back next week, after having watched the Bucks game, hopefully there's more. Hopefully there's more that we can talk about.
Yeah,
and
ladies
really
and gents,
evaluate.
I called that Justin Field and the Bears are going to show out in week 2. They said no. We'll see who's correct.
I think the Bucks are not a good team though. So I
So you
think
wanna
because
give-
the Bucks are a bad team, I think the Bears' chances do increase.
You just want to jump right to the.
No,
Bucks.
but we had different
Yeah, man.
viewpoints on that though.
No,
Because
Joe,
I-
you can go. You can continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'll be right back.
All right. To finish up, I'm trying to brush through this. So I mentioned to you, he only threw the ball past the 10-yard 4 times. Only 1 touch, and one of that was a touchdown to Mooney, and another was an interception. Others were the rest were incomplete. Jordan Love had 27 passing attempts, 15 completions, 245 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had 3 rushing attempts, 12 rushing yards, averaged 4 yards per carry. Passer rating of 123.2. He was under pressure 5 times. Justin Fields was under pressure 25 times. Okay,
The Bears are going to Bears, huh?
let's jump to the defense. DeMarcus Walker, our left defensive end. 2 tackles, solo, 0 assists, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. Andrew Billings, 0 tackles, solos, 2 assists, 0 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. Justin Jones, our right defensive tackle, our 3-tech, did not do a stat, or it has no stats registered at all. Yannick Ngakoue, 3 tackle solos, 1 tackle assist, and 1 sack.
Nick Godwin. You love that name, don't you? This
It's
guy
an
takes
interesting name.
pride in pronouncing Nick Godwin's name.
Linebacker Jack Sanborn.
Just a heads up,
2
guys, I
tackle
think we're at
solos,
2
2 tackle
hours.
assists. Yeah, we are. We're 2 more minutes, 2 hours.
Well,
Tremaine
I
Edmonds.
do. Okay, it doesn't have to be long. It'll be very brief. But on this podcast, I want to do something fun. I want to, when you're done, Joe, and we'll keep going. I have a
I'm
quick
almost done with the defense.
3-minute little thing I want to do.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go over 2 hours.
For
It's
sure,
fine.
for sure.
DeMarcus Walker, or no, yeah, I'm on the defensive line. So we already went through all that. Justin Jones, our 3-tech, had 0. He put up 0 stats, Brandon. No stat. Our 3-tech puts up no stats on the defensive line. Yannick Ngakoue did 3.
Did the Bears have any
solos.
sacks on Sunday?
1 sack by Yannick Ngakoue.
The gone way. That's
Just
our
one,
guy.
like,
One
okay, it was
sack.
just one, not even, okay.
1 sack. And he's
total.
known to at least average 8 a year. Linebackers, Jack Sanborn had 2.
Well, he's on pace for 17.
Did
only
we
had
have
2
how many
tackle solos, 2
How many
tackle
pressures?
assists.
Did we have pressures, Joe? Too?
5 times.
5 pressures.
And we
5
got pressured
pressures.
25
That's not
times.
good. 5 is not good. That's
and
not a
we
good
got
number.
pressured
We don't
25
blitz
times.
enough.
Exactly.
I want to get
5
into
is
the
not a
coaches
good
too.
number.
We're almost there. Tremaine Edmonds had 7 tackle solos, 1 tackle assist. He did pretty good. TJ Edwards had 6 tackle solos and 8 tackle assists. Our defensive backs, this is a nightmare too. Jalen Johnson had 2 tackle solos, 1 tackle assist, 0 passes defended, which is Jalen Johnson's probably, on paper, probably top 10, I would say, cornerback in the league. Kyler Gordon, which just sucks. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the year. He broke his hand.
Yeah.
1 tackle solo, 1 pass defended, currently on IR. Tyreek Stevenson came in for him, which is our nickelback, cornerback, whatever.
Yep.
5 tackle solos, 1 assist. Eddie Jackson, 2 tackle solos, 2 tackle assists, and 2 passes defended. So he did okay. I know, like I was saying, that Lance Briggs was kind of saying that he sucks, but he did okay on paper. Jaquan Brisker, 3 tackle solos, 4 tackle assists, 1 pass defended. Coaching and staff, Ryan Pace. I think this is some of the problem too. Told media prior to the season starting that we're at 75% at where we need to be. Olin Krug said that this is not what you want to be saying. It's discouraging to the team. Eberflus, what does he bring to the team? Honestly, I agree with Faz asked that, Faz Sports. What does Eberflus actually bring to the team? I really don't know. I think that right now that Nagy looks like Andy Reid compared to Matt Eberflus. He doesn't call defensive plays. When asked about DJ Moore, we kind of got into this. He said, I don't know, maybe he was tired or needed a break. Why DJ Moore got back-to-back receptions, then was taken out of the game. That's what his excuse was. Luke Getsy, questionable play calling, screen passes and checkdowns, coached the deep ball out of fields, called only 1 QB run that was 4th in inches, and, Fields thrives in running the ball. Tried blaming special teams for not scoring more. Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator, he's not going to be calling the defensive plays this against Week 2 against the Buccaneers. Matt Eberflus is calling the defensive plays. Alan Williams is out due to a personal issue. I wonder why. He also took Yannick Ngakoue and DeMarcus Walker, our 2 best players on the defense, out, and Aaron Jones ran in and scored a touchdown. Why would you do that, Alan Williams?
What is Alan doing?
IR injuries, Kyler Gordon, we talked about that. He's going to miss a minimum, they said, of 4 games, but it sounds like he's probably going to miss the rest of the season, maybe. I don't know. Kevin Jenkins, he strained both of his calves, and he's out for 3 more games. He's injury prone. He was drafted in 2021.
How the hell do you strain both of your calves?
And he's only played half the season since
Those-
then.
Dude,
The Bears-
like when you're
the
in
Bears
bed
gave
and
up a
you
second-
strain both, you get a
Oh,
calf
yeah.
cramp.
Listen to this real quick. The
A
Bears
double?
gave up
Yeah.
a second, a third, and a 6th to the Panthers for Tevin Jenkins. We're originally going to draft him in the 1st round, but Fields dropped to the 11th overall round, so we draft him. Losing streak. We've lost 12 straight games so far in the NFL, considering last season.
That's good.
Oh, really? Is
Yes,
that true?
12 straight games.
What
Nine
I will
straight
say,
loss to Green Bay.
I wanna have a little bit of optimism here as a Bears fan. As bad as things are, I think we've now dropped 9 games straight to Green Bay.
9 straight games lost to Green Bay.
9 straight. Well,
Yep.
sorry, New York, but I think you've lost 11 straight to the Cowboys. So there's always a silver lining.
Actually,
There always is.
There always is a silver lining. And, you know what? As Chicago fans, we endured a terrible opening day of football. But let's take a moment of silence to really feel for the New York fans of getting absolutely bombshelled by Dallas.
This is why I'm wearing a New York Islanders
as well as Rodgers, tearing his Achilles. So not only are the Jets' season hopes down the drain, the Giants, after a performance like that, you can't really expect them to really do all that great. So, it could be worse.
So I want to go over Rodgers' record versus the Bears is 24-5. Favre was 23-10, and Love now is 1-0. In the Eberflus era.
What about Bart Starr?
I don't know. That's a good question. Bart Starr was pretty.
I'm gonna Google it while you're talking.
So we went over.
Bart Starr,
He's a Green Bay Legends.
Okay, so this is the last thing. Then we'll go over the Bucks. The Bucks versus. We'll just talk what we think our scores were. Then Brandon will say his last thing. We'll end the podcast. And we'll say what our the beer thing. So what do you think the biggest key for Bears to beat the Buccaneers on Sunday are? So I sent you guys this earlier. So first, they let Cole Kmet run the ball on 4th down and get first down conversions. We know how well that worked for us last game against the Packers. They had Cole Kmet do that, and we gave up the ball on the Packers' 30-yard line, and they scored a touchdown. Second, have Claypool block for Justin Fields to run in for touchdowns. We know how good Claypool is at blocking. Third, absolutely throw the ball to Claypool for Claypool to make a play, especially in double coverage. Fourth, only throw screen passes to Claypool. Fifth, have DJ Moore run down the field to get open, but don't throw the ball to him. Throw it to Claypool instead on a screen. Sixth, if Kmet is out, only call Justin Fields to run the ball on 4th down and inches to convert it to a first down. Don't run Justin Fields in any other circumstances. Exactly what they did against the Packers. We all know how that worked out. Seventh, have Eberflus give his hits principle. I don't know if you guys heard it. He has a hits principle. So have Eberflus give his hits principle to the players before the game to get them motivated to win. After winning, allow Eberflus to reiterate that it was from his positive energy created from the hits principle. So the positive energy stays positive for the Chiefs game. That's what they need to do to win against the Bucs. On that note, my prediction for the Bucs game is Bears 13, Bucs 27.
Okay. Good points, Joe.
Yep.
Andrew, you want to go or me first?
I'll go. Bears 27, Bucks 24. Chicago Bears win on the last drive of the game.
Interesting. It's the craziest thing I could ever heard.
Understandable. You know what?
It's going to be a real exciting game, I promise.
This is me honestly pulling this out of my ass right now. I'm going to say Bears win 20-17. I think there's going to be some good defense played in this game. I think both offenses are going to continue to become exposed. I'm not a huge believer in Baker Mayfield. I think Mike Evans, I think Chris Godwin, I think they're also mid receivers. I think the Bears have better receivers than the Bucs. Evans is aging. Godwin can't touch the end zone if he tried.
So, Brandon, I want to say that, just so you know, that I think that the Bucs actually might have a better defense than the Packers. They're very good at stopping the run.
Oh, the Packers, you're saying.
The Bucs have a better defense than the Packers. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They have that stud on D-line.
Yeah.
And they're very good at stopping the run. The Bears did not do very good at passing. We all know that from the Packers game. And they're going to try to pass against the Bucs, which the Bears are better at running. So, I mean, I just think that this is a recipe for disaster.
But to be fair, I feel like I like Aaron Jones. I think if you look at the Green Bay's running back, I think if you look at the Green Bay O-line, I think they did a really good job of protecting. And this might. But they didn't. They also didn't rush Jordan Love. They had 5 passing rushes or 5 rushing. But if you look at it, I think Jordan Love on many occasions was just on vacation in the pocket.
Yeah,
he had all day to throw. I think Aaron Jones looked great. I think A.J. Dillon looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Or if you're Andrew, you call him A.J. Jones.
Yeah.
You kind of combine them.
You kind of exposed me there.
No, but
they will be wearing their orange jerseys.
But in all seriousness, I think I have a little less faith in the Buccaneers offense, and I think maybe we can generate more turnovers.
I have a question for both of you. Okay, so
hold on. No, wait. Before you go, let me finish my thought, if you don't mind. All
Okay.
All I was gonna say was, like I said, 20-17. I think I got the Bears winning this one.
All right, so you
Bear
go
down,
over
baby.
That was my thought, baby.
Bear
What do
down.
you got?
And
What do you
I'm
got?
a Bear fan, not picking the Bears
Yeah.
here.
So I have a
I just
question
don't see it,
for
man.
both of you.
But it's an incredible and needly win.
Yeah. Do you think that the Bears playing the Packers with how bad the Bears have been recently, or for a while now with the
Yeah,
Packers,
12 straight games.
is some sort of psychological issue that they can't get past right now? Do you think like there's far
Good
less
question.
pressure against Tampa Bay
I
than
think so.
there is Green Bay?
Dude, we're going to Tampa Bay. We're playing in their heat.
I
home.
think that
And you're-
plays a lot into fact.
Yeah, and we're playing Tampa in home in the heat, 95 degrees. I heard that's what the temperature's it could be, and I really think that the energy's really low right now. Like you said, is there a fire started under their ass? I don't know, man.
I think there very well could be. I think.
I
I
think
think what you're saying has some truth to
I
it.
think Justin Fields needs to ignore some of Luke Getsy's play calls if he thinks they're ridiculous, because a lot of them are. And I think he needs to just ball out and let the guy loose, man. Luke Getsy needs to.
Look, man, we are a prime example of exactly what you brought up. We waited all off season. Joe, you're a good example of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for the Bears season to start.
Dude, I was more
We're
excited
playing the
than I am.
Packers week 1.
Yeah.
The Packers. I think Justin Fields knows this. He's a fucking millennial. He fucking goes online. He knows this stuff. So he's got the pressure on him. You got the new O-line, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, I think that's definitely valid.
Look. Sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, you're done. I think the Bears are going to follow the Detroit Lions last season for this year. I think there's going to be some growing pains this year, but I think at some point in this 17-game season that the Bears are going to mesh well together at some point, and you're going to truly see the Bears take strides at some point. And it's not going to be this year, I don't think, but I think next season the Bears are going to take the division, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I think this year is a necessary growing pains. It's good that Justin Fields and the Bears went into the locker room on Monday and felt embarrassed and quiet. That's good for a young team to endure and learn.
Yeah.
Right. So, Andrew, no, I agree.
Yeah.
We definitely should be wrapping up this podcast.
Yes,
Thank
what
you.
you
If
have
you
to
guys
say.
if you guys are still with us, we really appreciate
Good
it.
information here, though.
Definitely.
Believe me, we've had a good time. This is a lot of fun for us. So, anyone who's been here and they're enjoying it with us, we appreciate that. Andrew, you're gonna close us out. So I hope you have something savvy to say on our outro. But before our outro, I want to have a really quick, fun gauntlet. I think both you guys will really enjoy this. I'm going to go week by week from week 2 to week 18. I'm going to simply ask you, is Justin Fields better than the opposing quarterback that we're going to be playing in that given week?
I like
And
that.
I simply want a yes or no. If you want to go into it a little bit, you can. Remember, we've been here for a while.
2 hours and 11 minutes.
You don't want to go too long, but I think this will be fun. So I
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoy this too, right? So, week 2, who's the better QB right now? Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield.
Justin Fields,
Justin
I
Fields.
think it, yeah. I think he's more talented than Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Week 3, the Chicago Bears are playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes. Go to the next one.
All right.
Mahomes.
Yep. Agreed. Right. I agree with that. And I'm not going to put in my opinion, but that's obvious, right? Broncos country. Let's ride. So we got Russell Wilson versus
Russell
Justin
Wilson.
Fields.
Honestly, at this point in both careers, I'd rather have Justin Fields over Russell Wilson.
Right now, but overall, the better quarterback is Russell Wilson.
Over the
100%.
course of a career, of course, it's going to be
Yes.
Russell Wilson. But right now, I'd go with Justin Fields.
I agree. If we're going to do a 2-1 vote, I'm taking Fields all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we saying that
We're talking right now. Like, not career resume. We're talking right
to
now.
be honest, right now, dude, last year he was in a new system.
Dude, and
Russell
Joe,
Wilson.
this season with all the hype,
Wilson was awful.
excuse me,
Last year he was.
this season with all
And
the
that's
hype
another thing.
over the
I mean,
Bears.
Javonte
How
Williams
disappointing
was
it is.
I know, right?
Imagine Russell Wilson
I
last
know.
year with Denver.
And that's the
dude.
thing I brought up with you,
Same
too,
story.
man. They get this big paycheck. Russell Wilson got this big paycheck, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden they stop performing. Isn't that kind of ironic
Yeah.
by some of these players? But yeah, Right. I mean,
So
I guess Justin Fields right now, but I mean, Russell Wilson was in a new system last year. I don't know if that took some effect. I mean, I think
Same
now,
with Justin Fields, new system.
last year, yeah, but he's in a new system this year. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
So
man.
that
That's kind
was
of a tough one.
that was a fun one. Let us know in the comments
Yeah.
what you guys think.
I apologize in advance. I'm like thinking about it. Maybe it's the beers, but the beers, right? But Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, of course, against the Commanders. Who the hell is quarterbacking the Commanders right now, dude?
Taylor Heineke. Well, he
No,
was.
is it Heineke?
No, it's not.
Hold
I
on,
don't
dude.
know
I'm
who
gonna
it is.
Google this.
All right, so that's just a by
No, it's,
default
it's
Justin Fields.
Isn't it Richard?
It's
something?
Alex Smith.
Hold
No,
on a
he
minute.
retired.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I thought I was gonna know all of them, but Jesus.
No, this is by default Justin Fields.
Okay, it's Sam Howell, Justin Fields,
Justin
boom,
Fields, 100%.
done.
But they did win.
Week 6, we're fucking done with that. Week 6, Vikings, Kirk Cousins, Bears, Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is more talented, I think, but Kirk Cousins, I don't know. That's another one that's kind of like.
I feel like the Vikings are a better offense.
Yeah, I'm going with Kirk Cousins on this, personally.
I mean, I guess I would have to pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kirk Cousins has proven he can
Yeah.
sling the ball.
Yeah.
Week 7, Las Vegas Raiders and Jimmy G
I was gonna say
versus
it's
Justin
Jimmy
Fields.
Garoppolo. Justin Fields, I think.
Yeah, I'm going with Justin Fields. There's far more upside with Justin Fields than there is Jimmy Garoppolo.
I agree.
Yeah,
Jimmy G though from Arlington Heights.
that's true.
Right.
And when Jimmy G did take the Niners far, let's be honest, it was because of their weapons, McCaffrey. No, I don't think they had to kick McCaffrey at the time. They had Debo, they had
Shanahan.
subs.
They had a very good team.
Yeah, they did.
Good coaching.
Their freaking defense was incredible. Week 8, Justin Fields or Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert for sure.
Week 9, Chicago Bears versus the New Orleans Saints.
Jameson Winston.
No, he doesn't play for them. It's
Who is it, Joe? You know. I can't remember. Who is it?
I want to say that.
Is it Matt? No, is it Matt Ryan?
I want to say that is Derek Carr play for the Colts or the Saints now?
I think
Derek
it's
Carr.
It's
It's
yeah,
Derek
it's
Carr.
fucking
You're
Derek
right,
Carr.
Derek
I forgot who
Carr.
plays for the
Absolutely.
Colts.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Oh yeah, buddy. Oh, Justin Fields it
Justin
is.
Fields, yeah.
Far more upside.
I think that-
Panthers versus Fields. So this is an interesting one. We all know that. Bryce Young versus Justin Fields.
I think Justin Fields is more
Of course.
talented.
Of course.
Whether or not he'll be better.
Of course.
I don't know.
We have nothing to go off.
That's
with
like an
this question.
impossible question.
That's
to
what I'm
answer,
saying.
You know, like there's no real like science behind it.
Week 11, Justin Fields. This is a tough one. Justin Fields or Jared Goff?
Justin Fields. I can't stand the Jared. There's a reason why I say this over and over again. There's a reason why Sean McVay got rid of Matt Stafford and got rid of Jared Goff for Matt Stafford.
Jared Goff kind of balled out last year, though.
Well, why did Sean McVay win a Super Bowl the next year?
No, you're right. You're right, and that's a very,
And everyone's
very good point.
everyone wants to.
See,
admit
That's
that.
a good
I
point. That's a
personally-
good point. But Jared Goff did ball
Here's
out last
my
year.
opinion.
He's
real
not gonna win
quick,
you a Super
and then
Bowl.
we're going to move on.
Just saying. He's
My
not gonna
quick,
win you a Super
my
Bowl.
quick opinion is that Justin Fields, in my opinion, has the higher upside as a future player.
Yeah.
But right now, today,
Jared
Goff is probably the better
I
player.
Dude, he has
agree
the best-
100%.
Brandon,
with
he
you,
has the
Brandon.
best offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, and he's got good receivers. He's got good running
Exactly.
backs.
That doesn't mean that
He's
he's
got-
a better.
he has David
We're going who's
Montgomery.
the better player. Justin Fields is a better talented person. Are we going by like a better team, or are we going by better quarterback?
Yeah, and that's what makes it hard because we don't know Justin Fields' full potential because of how
I know,
fucking
but
shit.
That's why we're
You know what
going.
I'm
He has
saying?
better upside. You know, we're
If
giving
Justin
him the benefit
Fields
of the doubt.
was on
like,
the Lions, they would probably be way better. But Jared Goff is an average quarterback. Like I said, why did Sean McVay get rid of him?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year they won a Super Bowl with Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I hear you. And Matt Stafford was always good.
Matt Stafford was
Matt
good.
Stafford was the opposite. Matt Stafford was always good. Couldn't get the job done in Detroit because the team was bad.
Jared Goff
Okay.
I get it.
What if it was just different schemes? You know, what if like Jared Goff it does better in a scheme like Detroit and Matthew Stafford meshed well with LA because Matthew Stafford with the Lions, dude. You're telling me Matt Stafford.
But I gotta admit though,
all the Rams
think about
was a quarterback.
Think about the head coaching change. The Lions for a couple years signed the Patriots defensive coordinator. I can't remember his name now.
Dan Campbell.
There was a guy with the beard, the black beard.
Dan Campbell.
A bigger guy, right?
No, Dan Campbell's the one right now.
Yeah.
The one before that.
Yeah, it was the guy with the black beard, the bigger guy.
The bigger guy,
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
And then they switched to Dan Campbell. I wonder if Dan Campbell was the difference. Maybe the other guy who was defensive minded.
Dan Campbell looks like he just got done doing a WWE fucking Monday Night Raw SmackDown. And he came to coach football.
All right, let's move on. Week 12. Let's move a little quicker.
Yeah.
Week 12, we got a bye week. Justin Fields is better than the air, right? Wait, is it a bye week or?
I think it is later in the week. I know they have.
Nope. Excuse me. Week 12 is not a bye week. It's Bears versus Vikings again. Did we agree that Kirk Cousins is?
I didn't agree with that.
You didn't agree with that?
I thought that the Vikings have a better team around Kirk Cousins, but I think Justin Fields is more. Like you said, I'm not a Justin Fields disbeliever. I just don't like. I think he's not in the right system. He's not a pocket passer. I don't know.
Also, how soon you have Justin
Jefferson? Today, I think Kirk Cousins is better. Over the course of an entire career, I think Justin Fields.
I guess I just don't want
will be better, but today Kirk Cousins.
I just don't want to believe. I guess I just don't want to believe that Kirk Cousins is better. But yeah, he probably is. To be honest.
Week 13 is the bye week, guys. Week 14, the Bears are playing the Lions again. We just had that discussion. Fields. Let's just move on. Week 15, Bears and Browns. Deshaun Watson and Justin Fields.
I think Deshaun Watson, he proved
the Browns balled out week 1.
Yeah, dude. Deshaun Watson proved on the Texans that he was able to strive without anything around him besides DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is struggling right now to do that. DJ Moore is a good receiver. He's still struggling.
Excuse me.
I'm gonna say Deshaun Watson's a better quarterback.
Week 16, we're wrapping it up, guys. Justin Fields versus. I'm just going to say, I know he's not currently playing yet. I think he's still coming back from injury, but I'm going to say Cardinals, Week 16, Kyler Murray.
Justin Fields all day.
I mean, Kyler Murray. I mean, dude, I think there's
I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray.
But Kyler Murray's smaller. Justin Fields is bigger. So I think Fields has better features on him than Murray. I think he has potential to be a lot better. But Murray, I don't know.
Hey, how about Kyler Murray just sticks to playing Call of Duty like he does all day? How about that?
Oh boy.
All right. Week 17, we have the Bears versus the Falcons. The Falcons quarterback, in case you guys didn't know, because you might not know, I actually had to look it up. I'm not even going to bullshit you. I mean, they do have Bijan Robinson. That guy's really exciting. Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, Logan Woodside is their 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're going with Justin Fields.
We're going with Fields, Fields.
Well, let us know if we're incorrect about any of our picks or who was incorrect.
We're not done yet, boys. Hold on a minute.
We got 17.
I promise you, we're
not
almost
done.
done. Nope.
18.
I thought
the last couple years they extended a week. It's 18 weeks now. And the final week, it's Bears-Packers. So we didn't talk about week 1. So who's better, Justin Fields or Jordan Love?
Dude,
Colin
Jordan
Cowherd even said that he thinks that Justin Fields is a better, more talented player, but Jordan Love has better coaching.
And
I think that's
Jordan
true.
Love is in the better organization. Justin Fields has the more skill, but unfortunately he doesn't have the correct mentors and et cetera around him.
Absolutely. That's it, boys. That was fun.
All right. Real quick, review the beer you were drinking.
So the 2 beers of the day were Hacker Shore and a Allagash White. Quite frankly, I've already had Hacker Shore before. Joey's already had Allagash White before. But, we're going to start off with these 2. So, Hacker Shore, Brandon, what are your opinions over Hacker Shore?
Well, I can only speak on Hacker Shore at this moment. It is you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. First and foremost, obviously we're all introducing each other today. I'm not a beer connoisseur by any means. I enjoy beer, but you give me any beer, I'm happy with it. That said, this is one of the first times I've ever had Hacker Shore, and for those wondering, for a 5.5% alcohol by volume percentage beer, I think it's fantastic.
It is a good beer.
I agree 100%.
I think it's
it's an import.
Not to sound like a poser.
Germany.
Not to sound like a poser, I think it definitely has a very hoppy taste to it, which is what I prefer in a beer over like a malty beer, and I think it's fantastic. I like it. Are we rating out of 10?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Why not?
Out of 10? I'll give it an 8.2.
Nice. My opinion, if there's two things that Germany does right, it's they're really good at starting world wars and they're good at making beers. I'm going with a solid 8.5 out of 10 for Hacker Shore.
Nice. So Allagash White, this is probably one of my favorite beers of all time. It's a Belgian style wheat beer, which wheat beers are my favorite beers. 5.2% alcohol. It's made in Portland, Maine. It's brewed with orange peels, so similar to Blue Moon, but they unfilter when they brew it, so it has a more cloudy look to it. But man, it is a great beer. It's one of my favorite beers, so I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because it's my favorite beer.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Favorite
yeah,
beer.
it's my favorite
Wow.
Oh, no, I mean, that's fair. That's his favorite
One of my
beer.
favorite beers.
No, fair
so,
enough.
One of your favorite
And
beers.
10
Fair
out-
enough.
10 out of 10
I
is
would give
Garrett
Hacker.
is...
I would
know-
give Hacker Shore a 10 out of 10 too because that's another one of my favorite beers. So yeah.
Okay, but if you had to choose between, now
That's a good
we're
question
getting
now.
into deep waters here. You can't say that
Dude,
they're both 10 out
I
of
know.
10.
So if
Which
I had,
one is
okay,
better?
So 10 out of 10 being my favorite beer, which is probably Allagash White. My least favorite beer, Bud Light. I would have to pick, it would probably be like a 9.9 then. Just below a 10.
Okay,
because
so,
I really do like
so
Hacker
an
Shore a
Allagash
lot.
White over Hacker Shore. You heard it from the beer guy over here. Bud Light is disgusting, I agree, but I will say I'm not a fan of IPAs.
They make it
either.
with
They're also
rice.
disgusting. But I think that concludes our podcast. Do you guys want to add anything else?
2 hours and 25 minutes.
That was a 2 hour and 25-minute podcast. We had a great time with you guys. We really enjoyed it. We look forward to continuing this week by week. We haven't set out full details on what day of the week we're doing it.
Yeah.
But we'll get that information out to you guys as soon as possible. I am Andrew. This is Joe. This is Bob or Brandon, whatever you guys want to call him, because he has big opinions, which is pretty funny. But thank you guys for coming, and we look forward to doing this with you guys for a while. Thank you.
Go Sox.
And go Cubs.
Out.